Fam. Seeing a lot of Sopranos memes out there lately, so that's why I gave a little bit of a even though Al Pacino was never in Sopranos, and he used to be like the Italian god, and now
Did you see the toilet? Did you see the toilet I sent you? Did you see the toilet I sent you?
Yeah, what toilet? I didn't. Obviously not, because I'd just say, yeah, I saw the toilet.
Can we put it up? I'm gonna put it up. I'm gonna put it up.
I'm gonna put the toilet. Or you can share it yourself.
No. I'm gonna put it in the doc so you can put it up.
Maybe we should introduce ourselves. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Combo Couch. I am Pasta Jardula.
And I am Fiorella, I guess. Yeah.
Sam, listen. I know it's monotonous. I know it's kind of like cheesy and campy and all this other bullshit, but we have new people watching. We have a whole new Rumble group. There's 14 people watching right now. Okay. Of course, we're doing our strongness on. We're over 100 right off the bat. And the YouTubes. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Go over there, do us a favor, and share it on out. And if you haven't gone over to Rockfin, please do so. That's our free speech platform. And on that free speech platform, there is no advertising whatsoever. So, fam, if we can share that out, let's share all that stuff out there. Is it in the doc?
I'm about to put it in there. Sorry, I had to go through all these pictures I have, like, of the craziest things. I hope nobody ever looks through my phone. It's like,
well, it's too late.
Snakes, serial killers.
The CIA is peeking on the other side. Where's it at?
There we go. There it is. Okay, let's see if you can put it up.
Where'd you put it?
It's in the doc.
Where in the doc?
The very tippy top.
All right. Well, you have to say that, fam. Where?
Refresh your page.
I just refreshed it, fam.
It's in there.
Okay. Is it below the Obama speech? This one? Where?
It's above. It's above. It's literally below the thumbnail. Bear with me.
You just erased stuff. Oh, that picture right there. Okay, let me get it up. You're fam.
No,
I can't with you sometimes. I just can't. I can't. All right, let me share this. And why don't you explain?
Okay, so there's a backstory. So Dan, our comrade Dan,
too, if it's a.
Okay, you're gonna tell half of the story, right? Our comrade Dan and I went to this restaurant. We popped into this restaurant that happened to be a Soviet Union style. And he goes, hey, they have the Godfather toilet. He's like, are you a Godfather fan? I'm like, yes. And he's like, they got the Godfather toilet with the pulls, the chain, fam. And what does the chain mean, fam? Can you explain to the audience why it's the Godfather toilet, why he said it was the Godfather?
So in Godfather 1, there was an attempt on Vito Corleone, who happened to be Michael Corleone's father. Vito Corleone was played by Marlon Brando. Michael Corleone was played by Al Pacino. And the Turk, Sollozzo, had put a hit on Vito Corleone because they felt if they got Vito Corleone out of the way, they could then implement their drug activities and whatnot, which was really frowned upon by the Godfather because he didn't want it. He was the hero in this situation. So even though he was a wise guy controlling the mob and everything like that, he didn't want drugs going near the kids. So they tried to whack him. And he was in a coma, but he was still alive. And Sollozzo panicked, the Turk who tried to kill him, and he asked for a meeting with Michael. And Michael, being the passive son, the war hero of sorts, decided to take a meeting with Sollozzo, the Turk who would try to kill his father, and the Turk's bodyguard, who was a corrupt Irish cop. Upon seeing Michael, they frisked him right away to make sure he didn't have any weapons and he wasn't going to try to seek vengeance. However, what's his name? Oh my God, I can't remember his name. But one of the wise guys loyal to the Vito Corleone had found out that they were going to go to this specific restaurant. And Abe Vigoda goes, who's Abe Vigoda is one of the old classic actors who was in the movie Part of the Godfather. I know that restaurant. They have one of those old school classic toilets that go all the way straight up with the chain on it. We could hide a gun right behind it. So in The Godfather, he was there. He was negotiating. He was pretty much expressing to the Turk and the corrupt cop that he wanted just no more attempts on his father's life. And he goes to the bathroom. And before he goes to the bathroom, the Turk grabs his cock. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. Grabs his penis. He grabs his thing to go, hey, to make sure he had nothing there. So Michael, once again, is a guy who's been frisked. I frisked him. He's clean. That's what the Irish cop says as he's having the veal. He tried the veal, fam. It was the best in town. He then goes into the bathroom to take a leak, reaches behind this toilet that you see right here up top, and there was a gun taped there, and he grabs the gun. He comes out. He shoots Saluzzo the Turk. He shoots the bodyguard. He drops the gun, and he runs out of the store, out of the restaurant, and he goes to Italy to hide. But it started a point where that was the war between the families after Michael had reached behind that toilet that you and Dan saw, grabbed the gun, and then killed his enemies. Excuse my French out there, ladies and gentlemen. I don't mean to curse like that.
Hoo-ah!
When he gets into wise guy mode, he curses.
happens.
Wise guy.
It happens, fam. So,
Anyway, so that is the story of the toilet, guys. And that's why it was special. And I went in the bathroom and I took a picture of the toilet. And you know what? The toilets were unisex. It was like a thing where you could go wash your hands. Okay. And Russia's a pretty conservative country. You could wash your hands. And then there was like 3 stalls and they were all unisex, meaning a man or a woman could go into it. But the stalls were private. Nobody said a peep. You know how Putin feels. The bathroom thing isn't a big deal. Isn't a big deal. It's not. Just saying.
But they're a little conservative too, as well. So
Of course they are, but I'm saying the bathrooms were unisex. A lot of bathrooms are unisex.
yeah, this is a
Oh.
manufactured issue to get all the people, all the social justice warriors in America, which are not really social justice warriors, like the ones we know that we go, the anti-imperialist ones, to get all up in arms about shit that really doesn't make a difference. And
Yeah, same with the right though.
Same with
They get up in arms about it. Yeah,
they get out, yeah, and they believe that it's
they
like.
both do.
However, I will say it's an adult situation, and kids shouldn't be thrusted to make those decisions.
Well, you should go with your child to the bathroom.
Yeah.
That's
In a
just,
public
you know.
place too, as well. So
Yeah,
that's
you
always-
should your child and you should go to the
at
bathroom.
school,
I mean,
different thing. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Anyway,
Let's get into this because we have a loaded show, Sam. Fam, it was a crazy
too.
weekend. We don't have anything in here today, but if you haven't seen it, guys, Whitney Webb, I just spoke with her this morning, just texted back with her this morning. Next
Good.
week, we'll be happy to come on the show. She just got back home. She went on Glenn Beck, and she
Yeah,
had
good
an
for her.
amazing show. Vintage Whitney, fam. I don't know if you've seen the interview. I saw a half hour of it. Vintage Whitney, just laying it out, whatnot. And then you had all these idiots going online saying, how could she take an interview with a Zaya Khan, with a person like Glenn Beck, a dishonest actor? This is stupid. And did she load up on the fact that Clinton and Epstein had a stronger relationship than Trump and Epstein did? You know what I'm saying? Like, just nitpicking everything. It was so
yeah, but that's those people. They're
Yeah.
always going to do that. They literally, I mean, they went after Tara Reid. Tara went on Glenn Beck as well.
Yeah.
And you're going to see a lot of people who have gone on Tucker. What is the problem? Why would you not want to go on the most watched shows, the most listened to podcasts to get your message out? Does that automatically make you whatever Glenn Beck is or whatever Tucker is?
not at all.
It doesn't. They know this. They just can't attack the message. They can't argue the message, so they have to attack the person that goes on there. And it's so ridiculous. And you know what? This is why people are being pushed away from the left, because they think that's what the left is. Like, people are so confused by me because they're like, you know, on one end, I'm being called like an anti-Semite now, right? For my tweet from the other day.
Of course.
Because I stand with Kyrie, I stand with Kanye.
Good.
I don't even like Kanye. I don't even
Neither
like
do I.
Kanye. I've never liked
dislike him,
Kanye.
I don't even like him.
Literally.
Yeah.
You can
Kyrie,
find
I love.
things about me.
Kyrie, I love.
Kyrie, yes.
Yeah, I love
But
Kyrie, but
this has to do with like what is being manipulated, in my opinion, right? And so people have been calling me anti-Semite, and I'm just like, it's the same people always, the same people that you know, they have to virtue signal about all this stuff.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do
fair. Yeah.
about Semitism, because Palestinians are Semites, and they don't like all these, like, a lot of people don't care. It has nothing to do about being anti-Nazi, because our country is literally arming fascists right now.
The same people who are yelling about yay, fam, are the same ones with the Ukrainian bio and their fucking flag in their bio. And I mean, it's ridiculous. And as far as those other people are concerned, partisan, left, right, nonpartisan, whatever, these purity tests that they put out there, and they're just nothing but really just contrarians that want to be right about everything. And, half the times they don't even pick a position. It's just don't do that. They don't even take a position about what you should do. But it's a new dawn. It's a new day for me, fam, because I'm going to pay no credence to these people. Old friends, new friends, never friends, all that shit. If you're playing that game, I'm fucking done with you. I'm not even bringing attention to you. I shouldn't even have said anything yesterday with my tweet about Whitney, but I got so disgusted by it because here she is laying it out like she does in pure Whitney fashion, just information, connection, facts, a lot of it. And you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, look at this audience she's reaching right now. This is so freaking awesome. And then to see the people come in and start, done. Dunsky, salute, have a nice day. I will pay no attention to you any longer. This is it right here, drawing the line. I'm not going to allow myself to, and this is a part of me, fam. When you had told me before, it's like, for me, I'm always trying to be very humbled and very
giving people the benefit of the doubt.
Not even that, but just kind of like, all right, I'm a loss for words, but like, considerate that we have an audience that wants to get involved, that wants to be part of the discussion. So therefore, I'll listen and I'll entertain people's positions. I'm going to be very selective of that moving forward now too, as well, because it just, not that I just got burnt. I don't see us progressing in that nature and stuff like that. So if I don't hit you back, I apologize. But first of all, I'm too goddamn busy and I don't have all that time. But this was an eye opener for me. This is like, I can understand you do that about us, right? Like the whole positions we took about the whole Russia-Ukraine situation. Okay. I don't agree. You don't want to be cool with what I have to say. You want to chop us down and talk to us like assholes and make us look like jerks. And you really don't even have a solution yourself. But the whole Whitney thing was just like, wow, you're going to go after Whitney Webb? There is no pleasing you. There never is. This is getting it right or wrong. This is about you. Yeah. Boo.
No. Yeah. Anyway, guys, clearly we have a lot of things on our mind. So
it was a crazy weekend. There was a lot of Whitney shit. There was a lot of yay shit. There was a lot of Russia shit. There's a lot of politician shit. I don't know if you know this, fam, but tomorrow there's an election here in the United States. And you know what's on the ballot? Do you know what's on the ballot?
Democracy.
Democracy is on the ballot. Fam, I like to say democracy is on the ballot, right? You corrected my title. I still want to point out it's the same old playbook that we're seeing time and time. The vote shaming, the scaring, the crisis mode. We got to do this. This is the most important election of our times, fam.
Again? How many of those do we get?
Dude, the Republicans are saying that too as well. It's just like ridiculous. And I still have a problem. And I will say this much from what I witnessed, fam, the takeover from the inside that I think is impossible to happen. The Republicans are way more on the same page than the progressives ever were. The progressives
have been forever.
They are way more connected on the same page, and they're actually getting results. I think they're going to be stopped short. I don't think they'll ever get to the top of the tippy toes. I don't think they'll ever take out the Mitch McConnells and whatnot. But fam, they're a lot more organized, I think, than the progressives ever were. And the progressives, like I said the other day, fam, on Crosstalk, they bent the knee completely. They are now in lockstep. The progressive grassroots leftists are now in lockstep with the establishment. In fact, our revolution endorsed all establishment candidates, which was a certain group started, right? A certain business, a certain organization started solely for taking on the establishment. Now
they're a part of it. Yeah.
So, fam,
that's what we've been saying for a while, though. We've been saying that it's co-opted. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It has been happening for a long time. And, it's crazy. I have a harder time talking to those people because they're so convinced they're right than I do talking to a conservative, because at least a conservative will listen. And I'm not partial to conservatives. Guys, I just got done posting a bunch of pictures that I'll show you guys later of me at Red Square with a bunch of communists. Yes. I'm obviously not a conservative, but I will talk to conservatives all day. And what I've noticed is that what people consider communism in the United States is nothing like the communism that existed in Russia. It's nothing like the socialist and the people that consider themselves left that exist in Latin America, those people are far more conservative. And you don't have to, create another label and call it MAGA communism to understand this, because it requires a lot more intrinsic conversations, complexities. There's different types. So in the United States right now, it doesn't do us any good to really talk about left-right paradigm, because it's so inverted and it's so confused. So it just really does us nothing. And right now, you have the Democrats being more pro-war than the Republicans, and that is a fact, because at least there are a few Republicans, even if they're pontificating, if they're lying, they're at least saying, hey, we probably shouldn't keep funding Ukraine. We need to not go to nuclear war. There's libertarians saying it. Where's the left? Oh, the left is cheering it on. That's the left, right? And so am I a part of that? No, I'm not a part of that. I want nothing to do with that, because I don't consider that true to my values and what I look forward to as somebody that considers themselves a believer in Marxism, a believer in socialism. I reject that. I reject a lot of the bullshit they're pushing with the bullshit labels, and I'm this and I'm that, and I reject all of that. So we could get into that for a long time, but I reject all of that too. So I'm somewhere like lost in the United States, but elsewhere I find myself agreeing with people more so. So the Democrats are basically telling us, fam, that if you don't vote for a Democrat, you are voting for fascism, that you're not voting for democracy.
Yeah, fam, I'm going to do this in my best Barry voice, but before we make comparisons to me and Fidel Castro, let's get to the first subject first. When true democracy goes away, fam, people get hurt. Obama, myself, you can call me Barry, joins the mantra that democracy is at risk if the GOP wins. Now, I'm just going to read a few paragraphs of this over here, and I'm going to just go to the video to show you proof that what I'm talking about is right. Former President Barack Obama continued the Democratic campaign theme this week in arguing that democracy is in danger if Republicans prevail in the midterm elections. Remember when he was supposed to be the great uniter, fam? Remember that when he was supposed to be the great uniter? Is this not, I'm going to stop real quick. Is that not one of the most divisive things that somebody can say? Democracy, our way of living, is all at risk if these guys get elected. Anything to say to that, fam, or should I continue reading?
Fam, just continue, because I have a lot to say, but I'll let you continue.
Okay. I have a new column out this week addressing the over-the-top rhetoric coming from the Democratic politicians and pundits. However, the former president's speech was revealing as he cited the very arguments made by Democrats as attacks on democracy. Obama did not go as far as some, but he also seemed to channel the dire warnings of imminent collapse of our democracy if the Republicans should prevail in the elections. Obama remains one of the most impressive speakers of our time. With the unpopularity of President Joe Biden, candidates are relying heavily on Obama for a good reason. They would run him again if they could, fam, and you know that. His standard stump speech is still heads and shoulders above most other politicians. Yet, the speech below was notable in arguments that Obama warns voters not to heed. I understand that democracy might not seem like a top priority right now, especially when it doesn't seem like the results always work for you. When you don't see enough progress on issues that matter to you and your family, sometimes progress is slow. But we have seen throughout history, and we're seeing right now, what happens when you give up on democracy. That's all I'm reading, fam. That's it.
That's it? Okay. So they can't even have Joe Biden speak like a normal president should, because Joe Biden is incapable of speaking properly. It's a joke, right? Kamala Harris doesn't know anything. She's useless. So Nancy Pelosi is dealing with her little circus situation. And then, of course, who else do you have other than Barry? So Barry's got to go in there and do his regular stump speech. And you know who else you have, fam? You got Bernie Sanders out there.
Oh, yeah.
Doing his get out the vote rallies. And I said this to a friend. I said, I cannot believe that it's 2022 and there are still people out there after everything that's happened, that are like talking about Bernie and getting out the vote and doing all the shit. A lot of people that we know in California are doing that same thing. And I just want to pull my hair
Are they
out when I
really?
see that.
I haven't gone on Facebook
They
in a while.
are. They're
No.
having like, what is wrong with you? Like, do you not see what's happening right now? Do you not see how close we are to nuclear war? Do you not see that the United States is literally falling apart? I mean, it is literally falling apart. And they think that they can just, if they just vote a little bit harder this time,
Vote
just a
harder.
little bit, they're going to defeat fascism for like the third time. Like, it's insane. It's insane. And they're using the same argument. Do they think people are stupid and they're going to buy it? Because I do think that, unfortunately, sorry, no offense, but people still are saying, well, we can't, the
gotta
Social
mitigate
Security
damage.
thing. Yeah, they're saying the same thing. Well, but you know, but we don't want DeSantis or Trump now because
Oh, Jesus.
you know, because of the Social Security, because blah blah blah. Like, they make up whatever reason, and it's like, to me, that just makes me feel like there is no hope in the United States. You have a useless left. It's not even a left. It's a whatever. It's a liberal, the liberals, and
Yeah.
then you have, you know, neocons, and then you have everybody else that's like trying to find where they're at.
Guys, I'm going to play this next video. We're going to show you some of the evidence of them saying this on the campaign trail. And it is funny, fam. They're still mitigating damage. They'll always be mitigating damage because that's what, you know, the establishment has told them they have to do. I'm for the next thing. Jimmy Dore will be joining us a little bit later on the show, guys. Thank you so much. Hit the like button. I just put the link to the Rumble chat, to the Rumble video, our stream right here inside the YouTube chat. Guys, if you got a chance, you can put on multiple channels, please do so. That always helps us out. We want to improve in the algorithm on these channels like Rumble and Rockfin, because we can monetize over there, make a few bucks, keep the lights on, keep the heater going for the winter. Fam, it gets cold in Vegas. I bet you didn't know that.
Cold.
It's cold. Not like you're cold, but it's cold enough. Let's check this out.
I'm a hardcore now, fam. I'm getting there. I'm getting hardcore.
Fam, please.
Cooper Manning, and I'm on a quest to visit the
democracy is literally on the ballot. This is a defining moment for the nation. Today we face an inflection point. One of those moments, that comes along every several generations. One of those moments that you're going to look back on it years from now and know whether or not we met the moment based on the state of affairs 10, 15 years from now. I want you to know we're going to meet that moment, just like we've done before. We're going to enter those final days of this midterm election, remembering that the power of America is in your hands.
I understand that democracy might not seem like a top priority right now, especially when you're worrying about paying the bills. But when true democracy goes away, we've seen throughout history, we've seen around the world, when true democracy goes away, people get hurt. It has real consequences. A fair economy that gives working people a fair shot, that's on the ballot. Fundamental rights are on the ballot. Truth and facts and logic and reason and basic decency are on the ballot. Democracy itself is on the ballot. The stakes are high.
But this right now is that's what 5 months of recovery looks like right now. And sometimes I'm going to miss some things, some words. I might mush two words together, but I'll always make sure I make the right votes in Washington, D.C.
All right.
Don't boo, fam. Vote. Go ahead.
It feels like an SNL skit gone bad. Like, you have recovering stroke patient. You have Joe Biden, who might as well be a dementia patient. And then you have war criminal Barack Obama. Is that the best the Democrats can do? I mean, I guess, right?
Yes.
Who else they
That-
got? They got nobody.
That
Like, this is
that's it. That's all they got. Who else do they have? There's nobody else they got. Sorry.
Well, they have Bernie and AOC, right? The article mentions Bernie and AOC. Well, it mentions definitely AOC, who's pretty much just, again, she's tackling the youth. I mean, they are very smart at what they're doing. They do tackle like the particular people with their emotions, right?
Yeah.
It's like that emotional pull. Oh,
They know their
if
audience
you don't,
too.
you know, it's they use these keywords and they focus on things that affect like 5% of the population, literally nobody else. And it's rich of the United States to talk about democracy when what we're doing, when we've done what we've done, right? Interventionism, regime change, literally right now continuing to fund to the tune of billions and billions of dollars an army led by fascists. And I think I have it in the folder. There's another like Nazis in Ukraine. They're not shy about it. But liberals are pretending that's not happening. They're just saying poor Ukrainians need our help. We need to give more money. NATO does whatever they want. I mean, this is, if you know, they're talking about when true democracy is in danger, they're talking about Russia. They're saying Russians aren't democratic. Hey, by the way, just so you guys know, Putin's party is, I think, the National Party or something like that. It's not a communist party, right?
No.
Yet somehow the communists are allowed to go out in the streets and celebrate the October Revolution and have their flags out there. And you know, they're the second one of the factions of the Communist Party is the second largest faction of in Russia, and they're allowed to just be out there and do their thing. There's Lenin is there, Stalin, a Stalin monument, Lenin monuments, Marx monuments. They didn't remove those. They didn't, you know, however you feel about, you know, about communism and about the Russian Revolution. Putin's not like attacking these people. Everybody's like, okay, you get to do your thing, celebrate. That's pretty good for a dictatorship, right? Pretty good for a dictator and his country. We can't even talk about like communism in the United States. Like you literally cannot like talk about it. Like you can, but you just get shot down at every corner. And if you are, when you become a citizen, you have to say you will not subscribe to it. So I find it interesting that for such an authoritarian country, that sort of thing is allowed.
Yeah. Guys, here's Barack Obama's tweet. Our democracy is on the ballot. We want to build on the progress that Joe Biden and Democrats have made so far.
Can someone tell me what that is?
Then we're going to need everybody to make their voices heard on Tuesday. Show up on November 8th. Encourage your friends, family, and neighbors to join you. And there it is, fam. That dude, I forgot his name. I think it's Shapiro or something. He's running for governor. There's another, whatever it is. Lurch is at the end. You know, Fetterman, right?
Yeah.
Please
Yeah.
forget about it. But that's democracy's on the ballot, fam. Guys, I want to spend a quick special shout out to our wrenches over there, Jilly Love and Lucky Burrito. Thank you so much for always watching us and babysitting us and keeping an eye on the show. Links are in there for the other channels, Rockfin, Rumble. We'd like to share it on. Fam, I got Obama in Detroit last week. So you got to hear a little bit of Obeezy.
Do we?
Yeah, we have to because this guy is out there. Like we said, he's the best they got right now. They got nothing but besides him. So I'm going to mute us up real quick. Here's Obama in Detroit last week.
Only way to make this economy fair is if we fight for it. All of us. The only way to save our democracy if we together work for it. All of us. And that starts with electing people who know you and who see you and who care about you, who understand what you're going through day in, day out. You do did that 2 years ago when you sent Joe Biden to the White House. He is fighting for you every day. He's got your back. He's doing everything he can to put more money in your pockets, to make your streets safer, to bring back even more good-paying jobs here to Michigan. You did it who worked, by the way, in our White House to help save the auto industry. Now you need to do it again. You gotta do it again. The basic question you should always be asking yourself, but especially right now, is who will fight for you? Who's on your side? Republicans talk about it, but what's their answer? They want to gut Social Security and Medicare, and then give big tax cuts to the wealthy. And that's their answer for everything. If there was an asteroid heading towards Earth, and we said, what are we gonna do? I think we should cut taxes for the wealthy. What was their answer? Tax cuts for the wealthy and cut back on Social Security and Medicare. No, that's not gonna help you. If you're frustrated, don't complain, don't boo, don't tune out, don't get distracted, don't get bamboozled, don't fall for the okie doke that says nothing you say or do matters. You go out and what? Get off your couch and what? Put down your phone and what? If enough of us make our voices heard, things will be better. We'll restore our democracy. We're going to build a country that's more fair and more just and more equal and more free.
Yeah. Why are you making me watch this?
Because I know it's going to frustrate you and get some good material out of you. This is how I, get that pop up the ratings. I piss off Fiorella. Fam, it's still the same argument too. The evil Republicans, they want to cut Social Security. We're the party of the little guy. We're the party of the worker. We're the party of the immigrant. Come on, vote your conscience. You know that the marketing has to be laden in that head. And let me mention a bunch of little bullshit really that don't mean anything. Joe Biden, when he was the vice president, he helped fight for the auto industry. Really? How many auto industries were sent overseas when fucking Joe Biden signed up to NAFTA? Really? Build Back Better, which is going to go after what you guys want. We're going to go after the climate deniers and climate change. We're going to take this on. These IRS agents, I'm surprised they didn't mention that. We're going to go after the rich. It's all lies, Steven. Lies, fam. Go ahead.
Literally, the reason people voted for Donald Trump is because of the outsourced jobs overseas that the Democrats did during Obama's presidency. It's just, I don't understand how these people can sleep at night other than the fact that they must be psychopaths to say all these things. And this is why I always say people get mad at certain people like us because we always go after Democrats, right? We go after Democrats because of this shit, because the Republicans don't tell me that they're on the side of the working people. They don't say, hey, we're gonna help you get Medicare. We're not gonna give tax cuts to the wealthy. They do it another way. Yeah. They do it by literally getting their donations from corporations. They do it by, manipulating elections. You're not voting doesn't change a goddamn thing, but they lie to people. The Republicans, sure, they do it a little bit too. They're saying, we're going to take care of the worker. We're going to cut taxes, blah, blah, blah. But you know where you stand with them.
Yeah.
It's worse with the Democrats because they lie and they lie and they lie and they make themselves the people's party when they're not. And then Barack Obama, to me, is the one that they weaponize the most to get at people. One, because obviously he's the best speaker. And then so you have morons like Kyle Kulinski raving about how great of a speaker he is and how based he is because of that. And then, of course, because he's black and it's harder to criticize him. It always has been because of that. And it's that whole thing where some people still don't know who he is. He is one of the worst presidents. Well, I would say the presidents that are the most criminal presidents we've had. Most warmongering presidents we've had. Ask any Libyan how they feel about Barack Obama. Yeah. Literally.
Ask somebody from El Salvador how they feel. Not El Salvador, excuse me, Honduras. I don't want to get it mixed up because You know what I'm saying? Ask Venezuelans how they feel when he put them on the list. Fam, can you explain to me this, though? Still the love and the freaking just Barack Obama delivering straight fire in Philly. I mean, I don't know why they love this guy. I'm gonna
because
roll
this woman's a Democrat bot. Have you not seen her? Like she's literally like a bot.
Yeah, but listen, she might be a bot, but there are plenty of people we know that are still saying how, oh my God, Obama, hope and change. Let's roll it real quick.
I don't think it's that many, to be honest.
The kind of slash and burn politics that we're seeing right now, that doesn't have to be who we are. We can be better. And it has nothing to do, by the way, with political correctness or being too woke. It's about fundamental values that my grandparents from Kansas taught me. Values I grew up with, values you grew up with, values we try to teach our kids, values we learn in churches and mosques and synagogues and temples: honesty, fairness, opportunity, hard work, values that Josh Shapiro and John Fetterman stand for, values that Joe Biden stands for, values that were enshrined in our founding document.
Fam, I had to cut him off early because I don't want to hear the fucking values.
Yeah, no,
Our
I
values
can't
define us. I had to. That was it. That's
Joe Biden.
Yeah, it's our
sexual
values,
assault, like accused crime bill. Joe Biden, his values, his son. We can't even talk about his son and what he did, and Burisma. We get censored. Joe Biden, that guy. Yeah.
It's our values define us. Nancy Pelosi speech all over again. I can't deal with it, fam. And excuse me. Here, let me add this to the screen real quick. I wanted to add it like this. Fam, Kamala Harris, she joined in the fun.
Oh.
Democracy. Our democracy is on the ballot, fam. It's only as strong as our willingness to fight for it. Let us vote Democrats willing to fight for democracy on November 8th. That's it.
Do they like copy paste their bullshit? Because I think that's what they do. They just copy paste it everywhere.
I don't know.
Our values define us.
Yeah. How much do they actually believe in their bullshit, fam?
No, they don't have to. You have to believe in it. The people have to believe in it. That's
well. Here's some more. I listen. If I'm having a show, fam, and we're talking about Barry, we're talking about Kamala, you got to throw in your favorite in there. You want to refer to her as Nance.
Yeah.
Here it is. We must mobilize voters not only to win the election, but to strengthen our democracy. There is no question that our democracy is on the ballot. I'm getting rid of you too. I was like, a lot of those today, fam. A lot of those.
Guys, we need a little creativity there. Like, what does that mean, guys? Our democracy is on the ballot, right? What does it mean? It's not, you know why? It's non-tangibles, right? They're not telling you that they're going to give you a higher wage, that they're going to do this, that they're not really giving tangibles because they're not going to give shit. They're just making it all about, we're defeating fascism with the Republicans and Russia, because this is always Russia's in the background. And we'll talk about Russiagate 2.0 here, because that to me is the bigger thing behind all this. It's not enough for them to do this, and they know it, because more and more people are seeing through their bullshit. Yeah, we they're on the mainstream media. We see these idiots chanting and all of that, but that's small compared to everybody else. Just literally, people just don't vote, don't care. We don't have fair elections in this country. We say this all the time. If we had fair elections in this country, none of those people would be in power right now.
They wouldn't.
Like, none of them.
Yeah. If we had fair elections or a fair system, they wouldn't put people in jerk-offs like Bill Maher in office. Give him a TV show so he can have people who are in office come and just go out there unchecked and unchallenged. Let's check out what Bill Maher has to say. This one might really piss you off, fam.
Can keep it. Well, we can't. And Ben Franklin said our country was a republic if you can keep it. Well, we can't. And unless a miracle happens on Tuesday, we didn't. Democracy is on the ballot, and unfortunately, it's going to lose. And once it's gone, it's gone. It's not something you can change your mind about in reverse. That's gender. So here's what's going to happen. Republicans will take control of Congress, and next year they'll begin impeaching Biden and never stop. They'll impeach him for getting out of Afghanistan and getting into Ukraine. For inflation, for recession, for falling off his bike, it won't matter and it won't make sense. But Biden will be a crippled duck when he goes up against the 2024 Trump Carrie Lake ticket. And even if Trump loses, it doesn't matter. On Inauguration Day 2025, he's going to show up, whether he's on the list or not. And this time, he's not going to take no for an answer, because this time he will have behind him the army of election deniers that is being elected in 4 days. There are almost 300 candidates on the ballot this year who don't believe in ballots. And they'll be the ones writing the rules and monitoring how votes are counted in 24. The facts, the policies, the behavior don't matter anymore. Trump could be filmed throwing a baby off a bridge and still win. Not to give Herschel Walker any idea.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll let you have at that.
Well, I'm just going to cut it short. I mean, I end up cursing, the whole election denier thing, and him for them to go to this whole conspiracy theory. Fam, I want to remind our audience out there. You probably already know this. Bill Maher was a big person, one of the tops, that's saying that that Trump would not leave if he lost, and we were all saying, "You're full of shit. Where are you getting this from? Oh, he's not going to leave. He thinks he's an emperor. Once he loses, he won't leave." And once he lost, I mean, obviously there's a lot of things that happened in between the time that he, tried to fight January 6th and everything else. But when the time came for him to leave, he got on a helicopter and he flew off. Just like Bolsonaro is going to do too, as well as his transition team came right on behind him and said they're already transitioning the government. These are made up fucking stories to further divide people. They're lies. That is the big lie itself. All the fact that, I'm saying that they care about our election system. We have a fair one. So for him to hit the election denier thing, and then this new conspiracy theory, now Trump is going to show up when he's not supposed to. I mean, this is just, it doesn't make sense. And I don't know where this asshole gets his shit from. And here's my last statement. When are you going to stop Bill Maher and everybody else blaming the Republicans for what happened? When are you going to start taking accountability with your own guy? Your own guy that you were so fucking hell-bent in getting into office that we were mitigating damage and that we needed to save our democracy. What has he done? The Democrats have been more anti-democratic than the fucking Republicans by far as when it comes to their fascism, their push for war, their fucking, their withholding of Julian Assange. Not that Donald Trump let them out either way, but at least the Donald Trump supporters all want Julian Assange free. The majority of them are like, as they learn, they're like, no, he should free Assange. I don't know why he's not doing it. The majority of Democratic fucking voters, they're like, oh, Assange deserves to go to jail. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, at what point are you progressives? I know the shit libs will never do it because they're so fucking blinded and they want the status quo. But when are you going to start taking your own medicine and taking accountability for your own actions rather than blaming the Republicans for everything?
They talk about Russian propaganda, and like I said, we're going to get to the next one. They talk about Russian propaganda, and they talk about all these lies from Putin. You will not see on Russian TV somebody like Bill Maher literally making shit up. You just won't see that. Like, this is ridiculous. He's literally pushing propaganda to get people to once again go after anybody questioning the election from a Republican standpoint, to pretty much paint the Republicans as the only reason why the country is falling apart. Yeah. Joe Biden is the president. They have control of the Congress. They have control of the Senate. They have control of, they don't have the judicial technically, but I mean, it's all the same at this point because they all take turns. But they have like pretty much the control of the entire, the liberals do, of everything that's in power right now. Who's in power right now? Yet, Republicans are the ones you're blaming. And this isn't a defense of Republicans, because I don't think, that most of the neocons in power are any different In fact, they shake hands with Pelosi, with Schumer. They, the Mitch McConnells of the world. These people are all the same. But I'm talking about the fact that there are more Congress people. And I have to say, Marjorie Taylor Greene, for all she's done, I may disagree with her vehemently on a million things, but she's at least called to end the funding of nuclear arms to Ukraine. That's important. Why? Well, because if we all freaking die tomorrow, none of this democracy is going to matter for anybody. So I don't really care about how you feel that she's a fascist or how she attacked AOC, because she's not a fascist. Because I know a fascist. They're in Ukraine right now. Yeah. The fascists are in Ukraine. The fascists are the paramilitary Nazis that are throughout Latin America. Those are the fascists. The fascists are also in the State Department. They were put in charge of NATO. Yeah. Literally, it's history. Okay,
fascism is corporatism. Fascism is corporatism, and there's been, since Webster sold the freaking definition, or it was sold to Webster, everything changed. But the original definition was the merger of the state and corporations, otherwise known as corporatism. That's Mussolini. Fam, I want to play some Billie Eilish because I know you love her. She's a fan. This is what she had to say. She's doing this for Fetterman. Fetterman retweeted it.
There is so much at stake in this election. Our rights, our freedoms, and our future depends on all of us turning out to vote on or before November 8th. Please promise me that you will make a plan to vote. We have the power. Let's use our power.
She doesn't even sound like she believes it. She sounds like somebody made her say that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, she's like my sister's age. She sounds like somebody made her say that. Like, it's just.
Well, fam, let me get to this next one. This is the Lincoln Project real quick. Let's get to this one because I know you love the Lincoln Project. You were thinking about getting a pin and a shirt and a hat. Anti-Trump Republicans. They're just pro-war,
They're neocons.
They're neocons. So let's check this out right here. This is the Lincoln Project.
It doesn't happen like we think it does. No one rolls the tanks. No armies meet in pitched battle. It happens quietly, little by little. And because so many think it can't happen, it does happen. Little by little, the rules change. It doesn't seem shocking or sudden. And that's the point. Fewer places to vote, longer lines. Don't worry, they say. We're just improving the system. They hope we won't notice the rules are changing because they lost the last election. They hope we just won't care enough to stop them. They believe they can take America away from us, and we won't even notice. We know who they are. We know what they want. The question is, who are we? Do we let them get away with it, or do we fight? Democracy is on the ballot. Vote while your vote still counts. The Lincoln Project is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Little by little, fam. We're going to play the creepy. Go with the creepy music. Okay, now, little Modane, little dark shots. Okay, little by little, fam. Before you notice it, right underneath your nose, your democracy will be taken away. So do us a favor, you little sappy bastard. Go vote for an establishment chosen candidate now.
Go vote for the people literally using your tax dollars to kill innocent people and bomb innocent people in Ukraine.
Yeah.
Go vote for those people that want to start a nuclear war with both Russia and China. Just go vote for them.
Those are the ones. Sign me up right now, fam. The last thing I had to do, I'm not a big Daryl Issa fan. I'm not going to go get a Daryl Issa t-shirt, but this was good. Here's the bad news for the Democrats. Democrat isn't on the ballot. They are.
Democracy.
Democracy isn't on the ballot. They are. Democrats, sorry. Here's the bad news for Democrats. Democracy is not on the ballot. They are. Had to say it, fam. Had to say it.
Anything? No, just these elections seem like a complete and total shit show. I'm glad I'm not there. I have zero interest in following these elections because it's only going to enrage me. You have how many days to vote? You vote by mail, no chain of custody.
Yeah. Fam.
On a Tuesday, not on a Sunday.
Fam.
Not on a Saturday, on a Tuesday.
Don't talk blowing up on a Tuesday.
I'm sorry. It's
That's
just,
my karaoke. We can't talk.
we just got
elections
done
right
with
now.
elections on Brazil, and U.S. elections are the worst. But
Yeah.
okay.
Fam, I'm going to read some super rays real quick, or should we just go on to the next topic? We got 17 minutes. So we just go on to Fiorella visits Moscow, I was thinking maybe. And
No, let's go to the Russian one, the Russiagate.
two section,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah,
Jimmy Dore will just come right on in.
yeah.
All right, let's do that. Guys, should I read some super rays real quick then or no?
No, we'll do that later.
All right, fam says, you super ray son of a beeswax, you just sit there and you wait. When we
Well,
get to you, we get to you.
It's
I know,
really actually quick.
Fam, that's what said. Here you go. Please, sorry, guys. Thank you. Do us a favor, hit the like, hit the share. We're on Rockfin. We're over 700 on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. We're almost at 100 at Rockfin. So please go over to our Rockfin. We're at 35 on Rumble, which I think is awesome, guys. So please do us a favor, go over there, like, share, subscribe, do all those things that we do. Fam, what do you got over here? You want to compare me to Fidel Castro now or later?
No, fam. Okay, so you're not Fidel. Yeah.
We have a
So
lot in common, though. That's
fam,
all
you're
I'm
gonna
saying.
make MAGA mad. You're not Fidel. It's okay. So guys, you thought Russiagate was done, right? Remember 2016 and Russiagate, how a bunch of us called it and said it was complete and total bullshit. And we were arguing with all the shit libs. That was the beginning of the arguments with some of the old Bernie supporters who swallowed that whole thing, right? Do you remember that, Pasta? And they were like, "Oh yes, but the Russians."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember.
So
can I say
okay.
something? That was right in the midst of them getting an election stolen from them. Just to say that.
Yeah. That just shows you how much of a moron you have to be. But okay, so liberal media, right, in 2016's claimed that the Russians rigged the election in favor of Trump against Hillary, right?
Mm-hmm.
Liberal media in 2020 claimed that Biden beat Trump fair and square, that the election was the most democratic, best election ever, and that everybody was a right-winger, that you needed to stop with the right-wing conspiracy theories, that we have rigged elections. Our elections are fair. They're amazing. Let's just forget about 2016, about the Russians and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Just because the guy Trump won. But now that you know, they decided things were decided in their favor, their elections were great. And now it's 2022. We're 2 years away, less than 2 years away from 2024, right? A new presidential election. Well, now the New York Times, of course, the adjacent CIA propaganda newspaper, right, wrote this. They said Russia reactivates its trolls and bots ahead of Tuesday's midterms. Russia just pressed a button. Vladimir Putin just called me up and said, "Hey, we're reactivating our trolls. We're sending them all to DC." And everybody's like, "All right, send your trolls, your Jesus memes to DC." Researchers have identified a series of Russian information operations to influence American elections and perhaps erode support for Ukraine.
Where are they
So
getting
not
this
only-
from? What? How do
So-
you not have to prove it, fam? Why do they have to say, like, okay, first of all, the last time they found out that there were people making memes, it wasn't the Russian state. It was a company that was trying to get people, like, you know, it wasn't the Russians. They shouldn't be able to say that, the Russians. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They could say a Russian internet company or whatever. How are they allowed to lie like this?
Because, fam, they're the New York Times. They don't get labeled NATO state affiliated media. They just do what they do, right? I get labeled. So because the New York Times has a paywall on top of everything, I put the New York news.yahoo.com article. So because they point out a couple things.
Yes.
So they talk about Gab, right? You know who's on Gab? RT's on Gab. RT, they're on Gab. We're on Odyssey. We're on Rumble. You know why? Well, because we've been banned pretty much everywhere, right? We've been censored everywhere. So they're saying there's this user on Gab who identifies as Nora Burka, who resurfaced in August after a year-long silence on the social media platform, reposting a handful of messages with sharply conservative political themes before writing a stream of original vitriol. The Post mostly denigrated President Joe Biden and other, it's at the very top, and other prominent, Democrats, sometimes obscenely. And they also lamented the use of taxpayer dollars. It's to support Ukraine in its war against invading Russian forces, depicting Ukraine's president as a caricature straight out of Russian propaganda. Okay, so this account was previously linked to the same secretive Russian agency that interfered in the 2016 presidential election and again in 2020. The Internet Research Agency in St. Petersburg, according to the cybersecurity group Recorded Future, it is part of what the group and other researchers have identified as a new, though more narrowly targeted Russian effort ahead of Tuesday's midterm elections. The goal, as before, is to stoke anger among conservative voters and to undermine trust in the American electoral system. This time, it also appears intended to undermine the Biden administration's extensive military assistance to Ukraine. So do you see what they're doing? Do you see?
Yeah. I mean, they're trying to make it believe, they're trying to draw the link between conservatives who are concerned about the fugazi, messed up, fucked up election system we have to Russian misinformation. And this is what I have to say to that.
It's bigger than that. It's even bigger than that. It's not just they're trying to put the conservatives into Russian misinformation. They're trying to weaponize the anti-war movement. The little bits of people that are anti-war, some on the left, some on the independent, libertarian, and some on the right, that are saying we shouldn't be supplying weapons to Ukraine because why are we doing that? These are paramilitary Nazis. Zelensky is a puppet. We should be looking at this other side. You're just spewing all this like NATO propaganda. All of us who are on that line of thinking, they're saying that we are promoting Russian propaganda by being anti-war, by calling out these politicians. It is so dangerous. It is so dangerous because now being anti-war is evil. Being anti-war means you're a right-winger and that you're pushing conspiracy theories about the election. That is extremely disgusting and dangerous. Before, when it was Russiagate in 2016, they were calling us Russian bots. They were saying we just wanted to undermine the elections. Now they're not only saying we're trying to undermine the election, they're saying you're trying to undermine the election, and you saying that you're against Ukraine is wrong. And the next step is going to be, you can be criminalized for that. We're already censored. I'm already labeled Russian propagandist, Russia state media, whatever, for being anti-NATO. So that to me is the most telling part of everything, that they're putting, and this isn't an attack on the right. This is, again, it's not only on the right. The right is always going to be the go-to bait for liberals to go so for all these idiots to go and attack the right. But who is this affecting really? It's affecting people who are anti-establishment in general, no matter where they fall on the left or the right. It's affecting anybody that is anti-war. And our anti-war message is basically being tied to any sort of questioning of the election, any sort of questioning of the official NATO narrative on Russia, all of that stuff. And that is something that is the most undemocratic thing you could possibly do. It's while they're spewing about democracy, they're literally saying that if you question anything in our narrative, and if you don't vote Democrat, we're going to make it impossible for you. We are going to label you. We're going to censor you. We're going to malign you. And you're basically, you being anti-war and anti-nuclear war, not wanting to die in nuclear destruction, means that you are a Russian asset, Putin propagandist. And that's where they're going with that. And that's why the New York Times put it out.
I kind of felt that way when they did that with the whole Korea thing. That was like, I was like, wow, you guys don't give a shit. Remember when that happened, when Donald Trump was going to go see Kim Jong-un and everybody was like, oh my God, you're just a Russian bot. How can you do this? You know what I'm saying? How can you, he's for being pro peace. Like, okay, listen, like American president should have visited North Korea a long time ago for what happened. Over 1 million Koreans were killed in that conflict. And we still have that propped up South Korea border. And there's families in Korea who haven't seen each other since the war, and they want to be united. They want to see that stuff. And that's why you saw Kim Jong-un meet with Moon Jae-in and that whole thing on the border.
Mhm.
But when DNC or establishment friendly folk were demonizing Trump for doing that, like, oh, how can we go talk to our enemies? That's when I first saw this type of behavior, and it's continued right here, fam. Your enemy is not in Russia.
Go down.
Man, but at home. Let me
It's
let me
true.
see if we can get it all on the screen. I'm sorry. Make it better. There we go.
And this is true, right? Because they're trying to turn the same way they try to turn you against your neighbor here domestically, right? It's the same strategy they use to turn you against Russians. Dan told you the other day, I'm telling you, Russians love Americans. They hear us talk and they're like, excuse me, where are you from? And we're like, oh, we're from the United States. And they're like, oh, I always wanted to visit America. Even now, it's heartbreaking to see the way people talk about Russians. When Russians are like, oh, we love America, we want to go visit. Oh, but we can't because blah, 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 blah. Like, Russians can't go. I could go through Finland. I could go back into Europe through Finland. I take a bus and then I get on a ferry and all that. But if you're a Russian, you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to go through Finland.
Yeah,
because you're persona non grata, literally.
Yeah.
Right. Now switch Russian for Jewish and see how people react.
Yeah.
Right. But because it's Russians, it's okay. It's okay to do it to the Russians. Right. Russians aren't stopping people from coming here. By the way, Putin is facilitating visas for people to come here, regardless of anything. That's what's happening. People don't know these things. Like you are so far removed from everything that's happening east of Ukraine, literally. And one more thing I want to mention, fam, before you do the super raise real quick, is that last month the FBI and the Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency issued an alert warning of a threat of disinformation spread by dark web media channels, online journals, messaging applications, spoofed websites, emails, text messages, and fake online persona. The disinformation could include claims that voting data or results had been hacked or compromised.
Yeah.
So they're not only doing this via an article, they're doing this via the FBI. Guys, this is this has been happening, but this is like they're going to go with this. This is not the last time you're going to hear about the Russians coming into our elections again. It's just not.
Okay, fam. What I'm going to do is see how I put that up there. This is over from Chris Sean. And he's over at the Rumble. I copied his message and put it up there. Election deniers are realist. P.S. Not a Trump fan. Thank you so much. Somebody gave me a comment the other day. I thought it was amazing. They said, Pasta's covered the Brazilian elections better than Steve Bannon. I'm going to continue to say it until he asks me to come on a show so I can set him straight, but he will never do that because he has so much emotion and time invested in Brazil and hopes that you guys will never hear what was really going on there. And don't get me wrong, fam. You know this too. I've been fighting with leftists about the same thing, about their attitude, the way they kind of call all the Bolsonaro supporters. They kind of did the same rhetoric about they were like the Trump people, like fascist of sorts. It's like, stop it. Like, you got 58 million people over there. They want to gloss over Lula's history and don't want to kind of bring that into facting, and they'll say shit like January 6th insurrection and all that stuff. It's like, I'm fighting with both sides. Right now, the Convo Couch has the goods on Brazil. I'm glad we did the work there with our friend Lauren, our friend Danny Shaw. Aminta was out there. All those other cool people. I'm glad we did the work. Camilla was out there as well. I'm glad we did the work, but I'm glad the Convo Couch, who does study and highlight elections, the processes, everything that's going on. I am very glad that we went there because we have the truth on what's going on, and we can speak the truth about that stuff. So check it on out, guys. I'm going to look at the Super Race, fam. If you want to put anything up as we're going along and comment, more than welcome to. A-Rem, thank you for the Super Ray contribution. Convo Couch rocks, champions of independent journalism. Thank you so mucho. Thank you so mucho, Arem. You've always been amazing to us. And thank you so much. DC, what's up, my brother? All your heroes are going to get MK Ultra'd at one point or another. Hierarchy and self-defeating. Idolatry and hierarchy are self-defeating. We don't need leaders.
Idolatry and hierarchy are self-defeating.
What did I say? Idolatry and hierarchy are self-defeating. We don't need leaders. We need solidarity as something older than a trendy hashtag. Something other than a trendy hashtag. Sorry, guys. I made it big. I'm trying to read it. Convo Couch, thank you so much. Peasant Party, thank you for the super right contribution. It's always appreciated on the couch, fam. We have over 100 people on that Rockfin. That's so grateful. Freethinker59 says, I'm so grateful for Fee's coverage of Russia, and that interview you had with Dan Kovalik was such an awesome interview. It brings to life for me here in the U.S. the truth of what's going on over there. Much love to you, Fee, and your bravery and pasta. Keep reality coming. LOL. That's Freethinker59. Those are our super rays. We have 101 people hanging out on the Rockfin. We have almost 40 people hanging on the Rumble. This is great. We're getting good numbers over there. Fam, I think we do have a decent amount of people on where we at on YouTube. We were at 700. We're at 652. Any second now, Jimmy should be joining us. Hopefully, he will be in the building soon. So I'm going to double check with him real quick, fam. Is there any other messages you want to put up or anything else you want to talk about while you're highlighting some messages?
Well, I wanted to just mention that in that article, they were really upset that Zelensky was put out in a bikini. And that was one of the things they pointed out that the Russians were doing. And let me just say, the Russians aren't doing the memes. It's a lot of people that aren't even Russian doing these memes. Like, it's the Russians don't do memes. Like, it's one of my criticisms of Russians. Like, they don't really use social media like that. In that way. Like, I mean, even at RT, like, they just have like a few social media people now. They're trying to grow that. But Russia isn't really known for social media stuff. Like, it's hilarious that they're trying to pinpoint it at them.
Okay. Fam, do you want to do the introduction for this gentleman over here? I do it every single time, but I figured I can pass the mic to you and let you do it since I'm such the
No, you can do it. I just want to ask why the hell we have a right-wing grifter on the show. Why do we have this guy? Didn't he just endorse Caruso? And didn't he have Matt Gaetz on? No, that was Cenk Uygur.
No, which we're going to talk about that because, we're going to bring it up. Let's bring him to the stage, ladies and gentlemen. You know him. You love him. He's been with us hanging out a long time. Big inspiration when we started the show. When we started the Convo Couch 5 years ago, we got to meet him. We actually decided to do the Convo Couch at one of his live shows in Flappers in Burbank. Welcome to the stage, ladies and gentlemen, the dirtbag leftist of all dirtbag leftists.
Right-wing grifter.
Here. The grifter.
It's great to be with you. I just want to remind everybody it's okay to question the election's integrity again because the Democrats are getting ready to lose. So it's okay to say that they stole it. Hillary Clinton already said it. She said they have the right wing. The GOP has a plan already to steal the election.
Yeah.
So are you? I mean, I'm not honestly. I didn't think there was much more shit that they could do that could shock me, but this unbelievable, over the top fucking hypocrisy about denying elections and the integrity is just they'll do it in the same sentence. They'll do all these election deniers are planning to steal the next election. It's like, what in the fuck? And nice people that I have to eat dinner with are fucking taken in by this shit. It's, I swear to God, I feel like I just want to, I can't, it's what do you say?
Well, it reminds me of that joke you do, like stuff like that, when you're getting the shot and they're like, well, what are you, an anti-vaxxer? And you're like, asshole, I'm here taking this shot. But I got to be honest with you, Jimmy, I am not surprised by the hypocrisy that democracy is on the ballot, that Hillary Clinton did that. I mean, there's never a price to pay for these people. They can say whatever the fudge they want and get away with it. This channel right here has been demonetized for 2 years now on YouTube for what? Elections, and mainly talking about what? The framework of elections, not even saying this or that, just pointing out the way the system works. You know, they've shut us down from the get-go, and DHS is what? If you're a election denier or a COVID denier, you're bad. You're now a domestic terrorism, and you're up to being censored and shut down.
Yeah, but you're allowed to question elections when Democrats lose.
Yeah.
That's funny. So you're going to be allowed to question this one. It's funny. They're already pre-questioning it. Like I said, they're already saying and I just can't get over this.
Well, you're allowed to question it. But Jimmy, you're allowed to question it only if you question the Republicans, though.
That's right.
You can't question the Democrats. And now the Russians are back, Jimmy. The Russians are back. Did you know that?
I thought there was a study that just came out and found a huge army online to fight Russians. Didn't that just come out? Am I wrong? Didn't somebody just release a study?
Maybe, but there was a New York Times article that just came out that said that the Russians are back and they have their troll farms. The article said they reactivated their troll farms now. And the New York Times put this out. Yeah. And
I saw Tom Hartman retweet that.
Yeah, that's what he was talking about.
Yeah, Tom Hartman. They won't fucking stop with this shit. Oh my God, that's right. Tom Hartman, the New York Times front page. It's just like, and I'm supposed to be the clown. There is nothing I could do that could make me worse journalist than the front page of the New York Times on a daily basis. And that's why, of course, they demonetize people like you. They give us bogus, I was given a bogus community guidelines warning, not a strike. I was given so they give you a warning, then a strike, and then you're done. And it was complete. It was about a transmission and contraction. And I was right, but they're never going to say I was right or they were wrong, and they're never going to reinstate me. So it's not about being right or wrong. It's about who you're allowed to criticize, and you're not allowed to criticize $100 billion a year company like Big Pharma because they spend a lot of cash. And I try to tell people, you can't imagine the political power that $100 billion in 1 year gives you. The whole recording industry in the United States grosses $12.5 billion a year. The entire recording industry, not one company, but one pharmaceutical company made $100 billion. So that's the kind of power they have. They own the media. They certainly own the news. There's only 6 goddamn companies anyway, so it's not hard for them to get it. And then they get behemoths like Google or Alphabet to suppress people like me and you. And then they get people to go write articles in Newsweek and hit jobs and call us names. And then, unfortunately, they get they get lefties to repeat a lot of it. That's the fucking craziest thing, man.
Yeah. Well, Jimmy, let me ask you a question over here, because I usually get accused of always agreeing with you for everything. I have a little bit of a disagreement with one of your tweets, or maybe I'm reading it wrong. But right outside over here in front of my studio, there's a pizzeria. And the dude, he talked the other day. He asked me if I knew Jimmy Dore. Dude's a big time conservative, right? Like, he's like, oh, dude, I love Jimmy Dore. I was just with somebody, another hardcore conservative. I love Jimmy Dore. Pizza Pete is my guy out over here. And he says, if Jimmy ever comes to town, please, he wants to buy you his pizza. But I mean, this is something that's like, I love and I embrace too as well. When I hear, somebody, a MAGA guy just said Pasta was covering the Brazil election better than Steve Bannon. I agree of talking to people different that think differently than us and having adults like conversations. This is a tweet you put over here the other day, and I'm curious about this, and just correct me if I'm wrong. This was the Jimmy Dore laugh. And it says Representative Matt Gaetz will join Cenk Jr., Anna Kasparian, Nina Turner during our midterm election live coverage. Tune in starting at 8 p.m. on Eastern, yada, yada. What questions do you have from him? Color me crazy, but I think this is one of the best things that the Young Turks have done. Like finally, like they are having somebody come on who's more anti-war than them talk on their show, and I hope he really puts that in Cenk's face. Oh yeah, he was him just like Marjorie Taylor Greene was saying we need to defund the Ukrainian war. We shouldn't be doing this. In fact, Gates did it several times, and I don't have a Matt Gaetz T-shirt, and I'm not rooting for Matt Gaetz. But what are your thoughts about this? Because and call me crazy. I know Fee's going to probably tell me I'm crazy. But I think this is one of the best things that the Young Turks have done. And I'm just so curious to see how it plays out tomorrow.
Well, what the ha was about was how they disingenuously piled on me for platforming and going on Tucker Carlson. And here they are bringing on this guy who they've said is a pedophile. They've said on their show is done all these horrible things, and they're bringing him on to talk to him. I brought on a Boogaloo boy, which they conflated with a Proud Boy, which people all again don't know that. And the irony, and if you look at my timeline on Twitter, I did another tweet subsequent to that the irony is that Cenk Uygur is to the right of Matt Gaetz on important issues, like for instance Julian Assange. And then I tweeted out that video with that tweet where Cenk says that Julian Assange can't be trusted and he's a Trumper. So no, I wasn't. Of course, I agree. I think that more conversation is always better, and sharing ideas is always good. And it's not about the person; it's about the people. Like again, it's not about Tucker Carlson. It's about he is the biggest news audience in the country. I'd like to get my message out to them. At the time when I started going on Tucker, I knew he had the air of the president. And he was credited with avoiding a war with Iran. Remember, people did that. So that's what that's about. Gotcha. So when I did that, it was about them always saying you can't do this, and now here they are doing the exact thing that they've tried to shame other people for doing. So no, I agree with you that this is a good idea. I think it's ironic that they're bringing someone on who they consider an extreme right-winger, who's to the left of Cenk on very important issues like war and Julian Assange, which is freedom of the press.
Gotcha.
And not only that,
understood that. My bad.
Cenk is voting for Caruso, who's like this neoliberal, and he, like, not that the other candidate is much better, but for mayor. And, the TYT started talking about crime and how it's really bad. Well, in LA, it's absolutely horrible. And their audience, the audience that has been defending them and calling Jimmy like a right-wing grifter and saying that Jimmy's a right-winger, is like, doesn't know what to do, because now the people that have accused everybody of being a right-winger are literally voting for Republicans. Like, they're voting for a Republican.
I know.
So,
well, the Democratic Party is a as AOC said, they're a center-right party at best. They're to the right to the Republicans on a lot of things. One of them is the funding of the Ukraine war. Now, whether the Republicans will actually stop funding the Ukraine war, I doubt it. But at least there's people inside that party willing to speak up against it. There isn't anybody in the Democratic Party willing to do that. Not even a progressive, not Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is now a water boy for the killing war machine of empire. That's the best progressive we have in the Senate, is now a water carrier for empire and murderous imperialism and the war machine. That's what Bernie Sanders is. Boy, talk about a disappointment. And of course, he never says anything about Julian Assange. Does he? Does Bernie ever say anything about Julian Assange? Or is he worse than the worst on this?
He's pretty bad.
He's not. Yeah, he's not said a word.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Okay.
He's not said a word.
Fantastic. Well, I guess we never have it. That reminds you why you shouldn't have heroes, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, and I don't know, Jimmy, I don't know. Your alter ego retweeted a tweet of mine.
Oh, Nina Turner?
No, your alter ego. You know how they discovered that you had this
Oh, a burner account?
a burner account, and they went off.
I was so glad they didn't find my embarrassing ones. I don't have just one burner account. I have several. Don't you?
Who doesn't have a burner account?
I have many. So
who doesn't?
I don't like to use my real account to interact with people who I know are bad faith act. So like what a trick is that they'll tell a lie about you that you know is a lie. And so then you'll want to come on their show to correct them, but they get the advantage of this fake thing they've just created. And sometimes people give into it, right? Like Brianna Joy Gray went on Young Turks with Cenk Uygur, and Cenk Uygur smeared her. She knew there was no merit to it. So Cenk Uygur said that she was a right winger. So then she then rewarded that by going on his show. Now I think she did that because she thinks he has a big enough platform that it demands a response. And it turned out good for her to go on, right? And then Aaron Matei, same thing. He went on with the Vanguard after they lied about him and smeared him, or said bullshit about him anyway. And I was just like, you shouldn't respond to that, even though it turned out good. I think it turned out good for Aaron to go on there, and it helped reveal a lot of things, clear up a lot of things. But that's not how it's supposed to go. So yeah, I mean, I think responding to people who bad faith attack you so that you'll want to respond to them so that they can use your response, or B, you'll want to come on their show. And so the best thing I can do is I don't use my official platform or my official account to respond to them.
Yeah. I think I got to learn from Jimmy.
I don't have any embarrassment. They didn't even catch the embarrassing burner account. I have more than one burner account. That's but that is one of my oldest.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to get that blue check verified unless you spend another $8 and let you know it's a parody account. Just so you know, what are your thoughts of Musk taking over, Jimmy? Do you see any light down the tunnel over there? Because there's a lot of people who look at Elon Musk's history and understand that he was mainly a defense contractor, that most of his money came from subsidies from the governments. And he said stuff like, we'll coup who we want to coup. A lot of people believe SpaceX and Starlink, which was used for the Ukrainian Nazis in the beginning of the war, is very problematic. Do you see any change when it comes to Elon coming in there? Is there hope for that? Or do you think it's more of like a psyops, red herring distraction?
You don't think a billionaire is going to challenge the establishment? You don't think the richest guy in the world wants to upset the apple cart? No, I mean, it might get better around the edges, but it's not the important things will remain censored.
You think? All right, okay.
Julian, he hasn't mentioned Julian Assange. And once you notice that, it's not, you can't, I couldn't. As soon as someone pointed that out to me, like I was really I'm like, well, it's, we have a chance. Let's see. It's like when the Squad got elected the first time. It's like, well, let's see what Elon does, but then as soon as someone pointed out to me that he's never mentioned, I think it was Misty, Putin.
Yeah,
probably Misty.
And I was like, oh yeah, that's right. And then I started to look into it. I read a couple articles about how he is reliant on the military industrial complex and the government and all that stuff. And, I think he's a brilliant guy in a lot of ways. And I hope he can't get worse. I don't think it could get worse.
Yeah.
So, but I think it will maybe get better around the edges, and you'll be able to talk about certain cultural things without being canceled. But I don't think I don't think he would have been any different about, say, COVID policy. Do you? Do you think he would have? I think he would have bent the knee to, and just like I don't think he would have been. Do you think he would have been? No, I don't know.
I don't. My feeling is that the check mark thing, first of all, the blue verification thing, I do like in some ways. I understand the concerns with people giving up more of their identification to the system because he does want to build one app, like a We app, to control everything, where you do all your spending, you buy everything. And that is some serious consolidation of data for the wrong people.
However, power.
Yeah, empower. And here's the thing. The blue check mark thing, though, I'm sick and tired of who gets the right to say who's verified and not. Big tech, whatnot. So
Right?
I do like that idea of $8 and verification.
And it's pissing
situation.
the right people off. It's pissing up all these people that feel entitled. Like, I like that. I like that it's
do.
pissing these
Hey,
people off.
if you want to be verified, I don't know. I mean, I haven't really thought about it, but I don't really give a shit. Hey, why do you know? I mean, if your blue check means that much to you, then pay the $8. And if it means that much to you, if you're that important of a person that someone impersonating you could hurt your public reputation, then spend the $8, I guess.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. Other than that, why the fuck would you? Who get? So yeah, I think to me it's better than letting some nameless, faceless tech bureaucrat decide. I don't know who decided to give me a blue check. They just gave me one.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's the thing. Fam, do you got anything else for Jimmy before he gets on out of here? Because I just want to ask him about Kanye, and that's it. So
Yeah, well, that's what I was gonna kind of talk about. You know, I'm getting called an anti-Semite because I think this whole situation is being manipulated. And you saw Max's tweet, right? Max Blumenthal's tweet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It was a great tweet. And I said that that pretty much Kanye is pretty much, they're mad at him for exposing this stuff. They're not mad at him because he's being anti-Semitic. And I don't agree with all the things Kanye has said. But
I'm not, honest to God, I'm not following Kanye West. I swear to God, that sounds funny. I don't know what he has exposed or what he's even said.
Well,
I don't even know.
He talked about the exploitation of like Black people and rappers and that by an elite group in Hollywood. And he mentioned how we can't criticize Zionists. Like he didn't say the word Zionist. That was the problem. He didn't use the word Zionist. He said the word Jews. But that's what he meant. And he was like, you know, there's this group in Hollywood but it's not like anybody's saying, well, I mean, it's not like I'm saying, because some people are saying that you know, what Jews run the world. That's not what people are saying.
Why didn't he correct himself immediately then and say, I didn't mean Jews, I meant Zionists, and I'm criticizing Zionism. And
I don't even think the guy knows the difference.
Well, I think the same people that are mad at him now would have still been mad at him after anyways. They would have said he's using Zionists as code for Jews. But
right.
You're right, Jimmy. I feel the same way. I thought he should have used the term globalist instead of Zionist because
they still say that's a right-wing word though. Globalist is a right. Everything is a right-wing word.
They say inflation is a right-wing word now.
Yeah.
Well, who did you teach about inflation, Jimmy? Are you teaching your Republican friend that shit? Because we're gonna 86 you. You don't teach Republicans about basic math.
I've been passing out inflation DVDs at Trump rallies, and so they're informed on inflation. It's mostly just videos of Bill Clinton and Jimmy Carter talking about it. But other than that, anyway.
Jimmy, let everybody know what shows you got coming up, where they can see you, and what you're going to be doing in the near future.
I might be. We're doing shows in Austin coming up on November 19th, I think. And so we got 2 shows. I think they just sold out. So we're going to add a 3rd one, and we might film it because I filmed in July of this year, and that special was 1 hour and 14 minutes long, which is like 14 minutes longer than I like. And we just finished color correcting it and sounding it and with all that stuff, and I don't like it.
I heard you talking about you were thinking about on the borderline of scrapping it, maybe doing another one.
Because the jokes are much different now. Like they've evolved, so it's just not. It's like
Can you explain that a little bit more? Because I was trying to understand it because I thought when you said the jokes.
I'll give you. Like they just kind of find a better order and they find a way to, so like the point I'm making then becomes clearer and easier, and better comedically. Like, okay, so I'm talking about vaccine. So I talk about, when I went down to get they said, they go, hey, I go, I didn't even know they put it in because I didn't feel it. And they go, yeah, you're done. And I go, I don't even know what I was worried about. I'm going to go home. And they go, you can't go home. And I was like, what do you mean? They go, you got to stay here for 15 minutes in case you die. And I was like, you sons of bitches, you told me it was safe, right? So that's that joke. And then I talk about mandates, and people say, well, Jimmy, you know, vaccine mandates are just like traffic lights. And what I say now is no. Well, what I said then was no, they're not like traffic lights. They'd be like a traffic light if you took a traffic light, ripped it out of the ground, and stuck it in my vein. Then it would be like a. But what I say now was totally different. Now I say, no, they're nothing like traffic lights. You know why I know that? Because when I go through a traffic light, I don't have to pull over and wait 15 minutes to see if I fucking die.
Yeah. I got
So that's a much better. It's better.
Yeah. I hear it's more evolved now that everybody understands what's going on out there.
Yes. So now, and people are starting. Now we know that they didn't even test it for stopping transmission, which is why. So I knew early on when I had Dr. Robert Malone on my show, the guy who invented the mRNA vaccine technology, no matter what they write in a smear piece in the Atlantic about him. And he came on my show and he told me that we're never going to be able to vaccinate our way out of this because it's what they call a leaky vaccine.
Yeah.
And what does that mean? That means that it doesn't stop the transmission, nor does it stop the contraction. Now, YouTube makes you say that it does slow the transmission and contraction. So there, we gave context. So I knew then that if you got infected with the virus, you could still infect other people and you could still become infected even after you had the.
Yeah.
So that's when I knew that mandates didn't make any sense. And then I also knew that we were all going to eventually get COVID. Why? Where did I get that from? Some crazy right-wing doctor? No, Joe Biden, czar for director of COVID response, Andy Slavitt, said so. This was during Delta. And so I knew then, this is before Omicron, which is way more contagious than Delta. I knew then that you could never vaccinate your way out of this, that even if you were vaccinated, you could still transmit it. I also knew that the vaccine didn't stop you from, and we're all going to get it. So if we were all going to get it, why do you care if you get it from a vaccinated person or an unvaccinated person? If you want to protect yourself, you get the vaccine. It'll protect you from serious illness and hospitalization. You don't need anybody else to do anything, and anybody else doing anything doesn't have a bit of fucking effect on you anyway. It's a lie that we can vaccinate our way out of this pandemic. And so I knew that a fucking year and a half ago, and people still don't know that.
Yeah.
And that's why I had people come on. My good friend Graham Elwood came on my show to debate me about that. And he said, I think if we could have got to 90% vaccination, we could have got rid of this pandemic. And Graham, that was never the case. So that's why I'm not angry at people like Graham or, think he's evil. It's just that they were operating under propaganda and misinformation. And it's unfortunate that people dropped their skepticism when it came to COVID, when it came to big pharma, the biggest liars in the world, and the government, and their corporate captured agencies. So yeah. I don't know how I got off on this tangent, but
it's okay. Because that's the question. Should those people that you're talking about, Jimmy, with this article that you mentioned to me, and I read it right after I was on your show, should amnesty be given? And who should amnesty be given to? You know what I'm saying? That is the question.
No. What we need to do is have the people who were the biggest spreaders of misinformation, which was Fauci was one of them, and then everybody else, in social media and late night talk show hosts who said we shouldn't give medical care to the unvaccinated. I mean, it was Chomsky. Well, Chomsky said that we should isolate them, and then if they can't get food, that's their problem. And so, I mean, these are monstrous things to say. And so it would go a long way if people like that came out and said, we were lied to and I should have known better. It's okay if I buy the propaganda, but it's really bad if I shame someone else for being skeptical of the biggest criminals in the world, which is Big Pharma and those captured agencies. The number one and number two people who are in charge of vaccines at the FDA resigned over the vaccine boosters, and they never tell you that. That never gets it's a headline in a news article, but I'll talk about it on my show, but nobody else will ever talk about it. Nobody ever will stick their chin out. And so this idea that we have to have, now all of a sudden we have amnesty for the people who got it wrong. By the way, they're still getting it wrong, which is what I had to point out. And you have to first admit you were wrong, then you make a sincere act of contrition. And that's how we make sure, not because I need it for my ego, but so that's how we can make sure it doesn't happen again. And so if something like when Big Pharma and captures the government and the media again, which is what they did, and they do another bullshit thing like this where they're smearing the critics of their plan, which is what they did, the Barrington Declaration, that this won't happen again. We can point to this and we can point to we were right. And here you are admitting we were right and saying you were sorry for shaming skeptics of Big Pharma's narrative and the government's narrative. How dare you shame skeptics of the biggest criminals in the world, but They're still doing it.
Yeah. And they're not going to stop. Joe Biden's telling people, prepare for your hurricane, get a vaccination, all that crazy shit. Jimmy, thank you so much for going here. Listen, I want to say this much too, because, I mean, obviously this network over here, and the people we hang with, we were out of the gate. We were really on top of COVID. We did our ivermectin video 2 months before the dark horse and Pierre Corey. And I was glad that Pierre Corey did that, because once Pierre Corey said that, it really shot into the stratosphere, and that was really important. But the thing that I really give you credit for, that you said, that you made a point of saying that a lot of people they might have said it, but they didn't say it in a direct way, is you kept on saying, we're all going to get it. We're all going to get it. We're all going to get it. And by saying that, it really made people think a little bit like, holy shit, yeah, we are all going to get this thing here. There's nowhere we can run and hide. And I give you credit for definitely kind of emphasizing that, Mr. Jimmy Dore.
And that was, again, and nobody ever brought me on their show to challenge me on any of these points. Nobody ever brought me on their show to go, Jimmy, why do you keep saying everybody's going to get it? And I would point to Joe Biden's head of COVID response, Andy Slavitt, and I would say he said it in June of fucking 2020. I'm pretty sure, or 2021. He said it in June of 2021. And that's Biden's. So here we are in October of 2022, and now everybody has it. And I don't want to say that the vaccine doesn't work, but everybody got COVID. And could you imagine if we all got the polio vaccine, then we all got polio?
Less hospital beds, Jimmy. Less hospital beds filled up. That's the important thing. When are you coming to Vegas? Nothing booked?
It turns out I can sell about 300 or 400 tickets once a year in Vegas. So I'm coming back. No, I like to go to Vegas to see shows and have dinner. Yeah. And so I'll let you know the next time I come. Next time there's a good show I want to go see.
Dude, Tuesdays and Wednesday nights, our good friend Brett Ernst does his residency. You got to see his comedy now, Jimmy. I know you'll love it. Oh, my God. Like him and Kurt. Like I've noticed that, and I'm not a big comedian guy like Steve is, the morning show partner and stuff.
Yeah.
But I realized that Kurt and like Brett, like they're the comedians. Like they get so many props from other comedians going, this guy right over here.
You know what? And I'll go check. I'll look. I know him. I know him for a long time. I remember he used to do a bit about roller skating or something.
Yeah, Tony. He does. He won't do that. He did it the other night at the Dirty at 30 at 12:30 at the South Point. But he's just got all new material. And
does he live in Vegas?
What's that?
Does he live in Vegas?
Yeah, he lives out here and stuff. He's in Jersey right now, in New York, shooting a special himself.
Okay.
But
where's his residency?
At the LA Comedy Club.
I love those guys. Those guys who run that. Those guys are fun guys. I like that. I used to work for those guys all the time at the all around. They've had clubs in every hotel, it seems like.
Yeah. It's interesting the connections we have. I know him from when we were younger, hanging out in Florida, and then he was close to Sam. He was on the road with Sam, and the whole kind of comedian thing. It's been pretty amazing to get plugged in with you guys. I really do think that your work, all the comedians that are doing this work, it's so important getting in here and kind of speaking the truth, because it's just coming from your guys' mouths. I think a lot more people are understanding and receptive to it, and you can open up to other audiences, just like this Pizza Pete guy right over here. He's like, I love Jimmy Dore. And I'm like, you love Jimmy Dore? But, I don't know. You're a right winger now, Jimmy. They love you over there.
Well, I'm glad. They want you to blame half the country for the economic pain caused by the oligarchy doing a controlled demolition of our economy. And I'm not going to blame my neighbor because they wouldn't take a vaccine that didn't work the way they said it did in the first place.
Yeah.
So I'm going to blame the motherfuckers who transferred $5 trillion upward during that time, which was every Democrat. And I think I don't know. I don't even, all I know is that every Democrat voted for the CARES Act, which was the largest upward transfer of wealth in the history of human kind. So that's what they use. It's the shock doctrine. We knew it was coming as it was happening. The only person if you can point to another show besides mine that was calling that out, and that's not to pat myself on the back, it was a lonely feeling. I wish somebody else would. They were all yelling, no, Bernie Sanders says, and Ro Khanna and AOC says they have to vote for this because it's got unemployment in it. But at least AOC had the candor to say that that was crumbs.
Yeah.
And so when Ro Khanna came on my show and I confronted him over it, he said, no, we had to vote for it, Jimmy, because the people were hurting. They needed their unemployment. So that's why you voted for crumbs, which is what AOC. But again, that would only have an impact if someone else took that video clip of me confronting Ro and then played it on their show or confronted Ro also. They'll never do that. It's all over. The YouTube left is back before Bernie ran in 2016. If you look at Kyle Kalinske and Rachel, what's her name? On the breaking point, they've gone so far backwards. The David Sirotas, they're just blue.
Crystal ball, yeah.
They just tie themselves in pretzel knots trying to justify supporting this two-party duopoly instead of making a real fucking break and getting a voting bloc that votes third party no matter what it is. So we can have a little bit of influence on what happens in this country, because voting Democrat gives you fucking zero influence if you're a lefty. Yeah. And just like, and they all pretend that Lawrence O'Donnell didn't say what he said in 2009, was when he said you have to stop voting for Democrats in order for anything that you want to get done. And they know this, but they're gutless fucking asswipes. And that's why they won't stand and up against their own Democratic Party, just like the fucking squad won't stand up against the Democratic Party, which is why they support the squad still. Guys like Kyle Kalinske and Cenk Uygur and Ryan Grimm make excuses for them instead of holding their feet to the fire. And that's why there's no left in this country, because they've been co-opted by pieces of shit like that who pretend that they're actually on the side of the left or somehow progressive, but they want you to be afraid of guys like fucking Glenn Greenwald and Jimmy Dore and Russell Brand. And so that's where we are. There is no left. Those people are further, because you know why? Because Bernie Sanders, I'll never forget, I saw when Bernie Sanders was doing his New York rally and every fucking asswipe in the world was pretending that it was real. And they were tweeting out stuff like, I'm so proud to be part of a movement. I'm like, you're not part of a fucking movement. As soon as Bernie gets screwed over again, he's going to throw his weight and his movement behind the fucking war machine and Wall Street. And that's exactly what he did. And where's his fucking movement now? It is nowhere. And where are those people who tweeted that shit? Where are those people who tweeted out, I'm proud to be part of a movement? Where's your fucking critique of Bernie Sanders and the Democratic Party now? Or are you hiding behind the skirt of fucking Trump fear? Once again, you cowards.
Yep, they are.
You fucking get me going, you cocksuckers.
Yeah, I agree. And they're doing the same thing. Fiorella was just talking about the people we know are still back into the Bernie movement. Let's go.
There is no Bernie movement. Yeah. Bernie did a live stream the other day. It was from Michigan. Him and Barack Obama. They couldn't get 1,000 people on a fucking live stream.
I know, right? We got more people than Bernie and Barack do on this live stream. Than with the
They're blaming Russia and misinformation for it's unfucking believable.
Well, Jimmy, I don't want to take up any more of your time. I'm glad you're thinking about third parties. We'll get you back on here with Dave Smith and talk Libertarian Party all day, baby.
And you're welcome to Russia anytime.
I'm gonna straight that guy up.
Yeah,
we love you. Like to run with Dave Smith. I wonder, maybe we should run together. But I don't think he would have me because I'm for Medicare for all.
No. You just have to come up with a different type of libertarian Medicare for all plan. That's it. I mean, our Medicare for all, Jimmy, we talked about this too. And I'm still, what are we going to do? We can't hand over our health care to these fucking people anymore. Look what they just did to us. We have to have a whole new plan. Dr. Ryan Cole talked about it in the show. We have a sick care system. We got to blow up the whole system and change the whole fucking thing. So,
yeah, all I know is that private health insurance is fucking unbelievable. It'll bankrupt you if you get sick. So
Yeah.
I know.
it's only good if you don't get really sick. But if you get really sick or sick in a unique way, it'll bankrupt you. Hey, I just saw a thing on Twitter. How many times I just saw today they charged somebody $12 for one Halls that they package individually. They charge them $12 for it. This is America. This is capitalism.
Yeah.
And so you can't. Anyway, I got to go out.
Don't do your show, Jimmy. We love you. We'll keep you.
We love you, Jimmy. Thank you. Thank you
for us.
Okay, right back at you. Love you guys. Bye, you Russian.
Oh shit! I cut him off as he was calling us Russian. I cut him. Sorry, Jimmy, but
you hung up on Jimmy Dore calling me a bot. Yeah, well, I am a Russian bot now. I mean, come on. I was gonna give him a plane ticket to the Kremlin.
Oh God, thank you so much.
I love how he got riled up on COVID stuff. Make sure you put the warning on the video, fam.
Oh shit! Yeah, you gotta send me that warning. I haven't used that warning in a long time, fam.
Yeah, we need to put that warning on.
Oh shit! Yeah,
you said the I word. You both said the I word.
I know. I screwed up. By the way, Freethinker59 said, I also want to thank Fee and Pasta for your coverage of elections in Latin America, Central America. Your recent take on election in Brazil is highly valued and respected. Thank you so much, Freethinker. So many alternative media channels are getting it totally wrong. They have never gone there. They don't understand what's going on. The thing that just drove me crazy about the whole Brazil thing, when it comes to, now I've already told you about my business with the left, fam, and you know how I feel about this shit. I don't like it when everybody calls every Bolsonaro fan, whether they be right or wrong as far as their support for Bolsonaro, as a racist, as a piece of shit, whatever. Of course, they have Hitler-loving white supremacist people. This is evident down in the global South. We see this all the time. We definitely see the State Department and their NGOs support the white people of sorts, not the indigenous. That's something that's there. You cannot fucking deny that.
And it's way bigger than it is in North America, too.
Way bigger.
In terms of, yes,
way bigger. And we had Anya on. We asked Anya that question. Republicans and the conservatives in the United States different than conservatives in the global South. She's like, hell yeah. And she told us the reason why. It's evident. But there are 58 million people who voted for this guy. I've met Bolsonaro people over here in Vegas, fam, and talked to them, and they're the nicest, loving people in the world. Just like I've met Trump people out there that are the nicest, loving people in the world. Now, they may be misled. They might be wrong. But to classify them as that I think that just takes away from any argument about what's going on, especially when you're putting the emphasis as the problem on the people and not the leadership, right? Okay. A little bit of both over there, whatever. The right has come out, the conservatives, InfoWars, Tucker did it the other day. So there's a third party. Steve Bannon is the third party. All right, all these people going, how could this be? Look at these rallies for Bolsonaro. They're huge. Showing that Independence Day article. Giving you a kind of this idea that Lula is like Biden, that he couldn't draw anybody there.
Yeah, no, that's not true.
Speaking about my friend Brett, and I said this the other day, he has this joke where his gay brother comes out to the family, but they already knew. And their response was when he came out to the family, he goes, guys, I got to tell you something. And they're like, no, you had the whole family fooled. Like, you know what I'm saying? That should be that same response to Lula actually winning. No, a guy who was the two-time president that led over big economic booms and eradicated poverty, he won the election? No. I mean, the conditions alone in Brazil. Fee got her phone stolen. Our friend Danny got his phone stolen. One of our other friends, Amita's friend, got her phone stolen. There is economic chaos, social unrest, homelessness like you've never seen it before. A wet paper bag would have fucking probably got 40% of the vote against Bolsonaro. That's how bad things are in Brazil. So to make this whole kind of disingenuous argument up that Lula didn't have a draw, that Lula didn't have the people in the favelas pulling for him, the labor groups pulling for him, small agriculture pulling for him, it's just disingenuous at best, and it's bullshit. And I'm calling bullshit on all of you guys, new friends, old friends, whatever. Yes, there is a DRE system, which is a direct recorded electronic device, but all the other systems of security are in play. ID, set location, 1 day of voting, where it's cast, it's counted, the mass participation by the public. All these securities are in place. The one area of question is there. And like we said before, it's not just the last election Bolsonaro won, fam. He won elections in Congress too, as well. He's been in Congress for a long time. He's been rocking off the same system like 5 elections. Now all of a sudden, he wants to throw a vague comment out there. He didn't educate the public on the software and what could be done. He didn't pull the software. He didn't have people in place to challenge it, to do the audit system, which he has every right to. No, because he knows the system is pretty much welfare and that he didn't get cheated.
Fam.
Fam, don't get me started.
You started yourself. Moving on.
You want to
It's
go to your...
12:42 for me, so.
All right. You want... Hey, I'm sorry there's no daylight savings over there. You want to talk about the Fiorella attends? Let's do that.
Okay. Not Nevada and all that?
We'll do that after.
No. Do that last.
Okay.
We'll do mine last. Yeah.
Oh, do yours last?
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't want to talk about your lovely time and Phoebe?
Yeah, I'll do that last. Just don't take forever on this section because it's
Fam, why you gotta put me on blast in front of my friends?
well, because we're not gonna know the answer till tomorrow, right?
Whoa, why is this there? I got the wrong. Oh shit! I lost the Wisconsin fucking. I'll find the Wisconsin thing. Okay, so let's talk about this, guys. This is from the AP News. So don't cut me. As you know, election integrity activist, and one of my 6 principles was where it's cast, it's counted. It was in Nevada, Honduras, that I got very emotional when we got to witness a hand count, right? So, I mean, I'm talking just the passion of the people in this particular situation where they were yelling and screaming, 1 vote for Maher, yay! 1 vote for, what was his name? Juan Orlando Hernandez. Boo! And just seeing like everybody like, no, you must open up these doors. The passion, people involved with our elections. Well, an election official inside of Nye County, and you can see him over there. He's in the front there. This guy right over here has pushed to begin an unprecedented hand count of ballots. And this is back in late October. And you can see them in the front. His name is Mark Kampf. He's the interim elections official that has implemented this hand count. And he's done it because he wanted to get some form of transparency. And as you know, other groups came in. Volunteers in a rural Nevada area county where voting machine conspiracy theories led to the unprecedented hand count of mail-in ballots came face to face with one messy reality of their plan Wednesday. It's more time-consuming than anticipated. After a full day of Nye County office building in Pahrump, 60 miles west of Las Vegas, some 60 volunteers hand-counted about 900 of the 1950 mail-in ballots that the county had received so far. So pretty much what had happened to fam is that they're trying to give you this. Of course, the AP is going to kind of draw the line about these people believe in the big lie, the conspiracy truth. This is why they're doing a hand count. I don't care for whatever reason it was used, fam, but it's a good thing, and they got it going. But the other day, they stopped the count, and it was like, what the hell is going on? That's how it started, and this is how it's going right now. I'm going to play a little video once I get this up real quick. Let me add this on up here of what happened, because we are now doing the Texas two-step, fam. I feel like it's like that song by, what's her name? Paula Abdul. 2 steps forward, I take 2 steps back, right? So,
I don't know.
Opposites attract, fam. Come on. So,
Sorry.
it's okay. Nevada Secretary of State shares Nye County's proposal to resume hand counting of ballots. They had stopped it, fam. And this is after a progressive group came in and sued, saying it was unfair and insecure for them to do hand counting of ballots because people will know the results earlier. The ACLU came in. They got it thrown out, and then I got kicked up to the Supreme Court. Now the Secretary of State is kind of going back with the election officials to see if they can resume this hand counting ballots. Now I'm going to play this video and give you an update of how the Convo Couch is involved with this whole situation that could be going on an actual hand count. Let's take a look.
Is this a commercial?
The Subaru WRX. Dog tested, dog approved.
Maintain the love with complimentary maintenance when you purchase or lease a new Subaru. SubaruLasVegas.com.
The saga continues tonight in Nye County as it seeks to resume hand counting ballots. That process, which is new this election, has been on pause for more than a week now due to a court challenge. Kim Passoff joins us with the latest.
Yeah, so we got these documents from the Secretary of State today. They were filed yesterday by Nye County outlining their proposed updated hand counting procedures to comply with the courts and get the count going once again.
We will support, protect, and defend the Constitution and government of the United States.
Volunteers sworn in last Wednesday at Nye County's ballot tally center before starting to count ballots by hand. Fox 5 got a look at the rooms where the counting took place before the counting started. Tables set up for teams of 5 people. At the head of the table, someone to read the ballot out loud, someone sitting next to them to verify the ballot is read correctly, and 3 people at the other end of the table, each tallying the votes. The Nevada ACLU challenged this process in court, arguing reading candidates' names aloud from ballots within distance of public observers violates the court's rule that the count must be done in a way that prevents the release of early results.
This hand counting process and the way things are conducted have no viability. They're unsafe. The potential for incorrect results is incredibly high.
The Nevada Supreme Court intervened and the hand count was stopped the day after it started. Now, Nye County has sent a highly detailed document to the Secretary of State outlining changes to their hand count process to comply with the court in order to start it again. Instead of having teams of 5 volunteers working together to count votes in these rooms, instead there will now be teams of 3. The ballot will no longer be read aloud. Each of the 3 volunteers will tally the ballots on their own using this sheet while working in silence. Nye County says the process will still be conducted in full view of the public, but observers will be positioned to avoid a clear view of votes on ballots. And Nye County tells Fox 5 if their amended plan is approved, volunteers will start counting mail-in ballots again on Monday. According to the Associated Press, a hand count for a jurisdiction of this size of Nye County, it is unprecedented. The county has about 50,000 residents, including 33,000 registered voters. Jacqueline?
And thank you, Kim. And back in March, Nye County commissioners voted unanimously to ditch electronic voting machines and move to those all-paper hand-counted elections. But now the hand count will be in addition to an electronic count.
Well, they got one thing good out of there, and it should be an addition. I've said this before. This is something I don't know a lot of people who stand with me. It was something I came up on my own thought process, something that wasn't taught to me. I'm like, hey, why don't we have number one, where it's cast, it's counted, which is the most important thing, which they're not doing here, fam. Really, to tell you the truth, the whole purpose of this hand count, they're going away from the rules of why we should have a hand count, and that's transparency for the public. That's so they can see what's going on. They're using certain things, but they're being very hypocritical, right? Okay, Raji Robb, who's going to be on the show tomorrow, talk about early counting is early fraud because we want to get everything down to one day eventually to have an election day and count them after they're done, where it's cast, it's counted. Early counting is early fraud. They already process these ballots through the machines, and a lot of people have access to these machines in which they can already see the count. So they're being very hypocritical when they're saying reading the names aloud in a room is going to give people a chance to understand an early count. It's going to be unfair. They're being completely hypocritical and using words like this is very dangerous, that one guy said.
But why are they counting them early, Pasta? Why do they have ballots?
Because they
allow
voting.
vote by mail.
Yeah, they allow vote by mail
voting.
and early voting.
Yeah, you don't have that in a country, in any of these countries. Venezuela, Honduras, Nicaragua. Nicaragua just had their elections yesterday, Sunday. And you in Brazil, you have one day to vote, a Sunday, usually from 7 to 5, anytime, sometimes later, right? Or 8 to 6 or something like that. And you have one day to count those ballots. People, once the polls close, they start counting the ballots. Somehow they are able to do that. They are able to do it somehow very quickly and efficiently. You saw how quickly the results came for Brazil. And they have no problem. What? They require IDs. You have to vote at your designated polling location. You can't just decide that you're going to vote wherever you want. There's no ballot harvesting. There's no drop off, blah, blah, blah. You have to go. You get marked. You get, into the biometric system. That's all it is. But they don't even want to do a public counting here.
Yeah. They don't even do
Come on.
that. And the thing about it is I talked about it with some people, some election integrity activists, fam. It's like, okay, Nevada has a bigger problem, right? The rules that came into part in 2020 were rules that were implemented under COVID policies, under the COVID outbreak, or whatever you want to call it. So these protocols that were introduced, let's get drop boxes so people can be safe. Like, if this is dangerous, I guess the guy was talking about COVID. Who the fuck knows? Let's get mail-in ballots to everybody. Let's have drop boxes. Let's make this easier. Let's make this more accessible, fam, more inclusive. So now you have drop boxes everywhere in this country, funded by a lot of people like Zuckerberg, which was admitted in that Time Life magazine, the cabal, when they all went and saw, he funded a lot of this situation. And we'll get to Green Bay and Wisconsin, because that's where a lot of this monkey business and his money came into place. But in Nevada, what they did was they took those rules that were temporary rules and they made them permanent in 2021 last year. So in Nevada, if you register to get a license, like I did when I first moved here, you were automatically registered to vote. Automatically. So anybody who got a driver's license is automatically registered to vote. The second nefarious thing they do, because I don't like that at all, right? Like, especially when it's a system where you don't have to participate. If it was a system where you had to vote, then automatic registration works. And that also works if there's no mail-out ballots, because here's what they do. If your name is on the voter rolls, you automatically get a mail-in ballot. So everybody is going to get a mail-in ballot, right? So now the public counting, even though it's one part of the cog in the machine that we need to fix, it's still, what are they doing? Where they're counting all these ballots that have come from who knows where. If we had a 60% participation rate, which is high in Nevada, that's 40% of your ballots still outstanding, floating around there. Who knows who can get a hold of them, right? So that's the issue with the system. But as an election integrity activist, we want to at least try to fix one part at a time. This could be unprecedented. This could be awesome. The news I have for our audience out there and our listeners is that if in fact they go through with this, they say they might start counting on Wednesday or Thursday, having a public hand count. They're still going back and forth. As you can see, the Secretary of State, the elections officials, even the ones in Nye who voted to get rid of the machine count, they've tried to reach some consensus where they'll do both, which is something that should be done, as long as it's done in the place where it's cast. That's not going to happen. But with that being said, they're still trying to get this done. And if they get this done, fam, the Convo Couch will have access to go film it in Nye County, which is about 60 miles away from here. So if, in fact, this goes through, I'm going to jump in the car. I'm going to get over there with my camera and my microphone and document it. So if it does happen, the Convo Couch will be there. We have access to it. So let's cross our fingers. I'm going to hear more today. But if it does take place, fam, we are there. Okay. Last part really quick. I want to mention real quick. This is going on in Wisconsin while we're on the whole situation. So that's coming down to the wire, right, fam? Election day is tomorrow. They still don't know what they're going to do about this whole situation. In Wisconsin, there are still a lot of things going that are kind of pending on lawsuits and whatnot. In an unrelated matter, a Wisconsin judge on November the 2nd granted the Republican National Committee's request for a temporary injunction ordering Green Bay's county clerk Celestine Jeffries to not violate state laws that permit the public to watch the election and voting process, including an in-person absentee voting. According to the lawsuit, Jeffries has allegedly been prohibiting members of the public from observing all aspects of in-person absentee voting process that started on October 25th at the city's clerk's office. In less than 24 hours, the RNC successfully sued and won in Green Bay to ensure the city's Democratic election officials follow the law on the books in Wisconsin. RNC chairwoman Ronna McDaniel sent in a statement, bipartisan poll watching is a constitutional right in Wisconsin, and now the Green Bay clerk will have to let them in the room to observe. You hear that, fam? They're going to let them have transparency. The fact that they are fighting against this is crazy. In July, the Wisconsin Supreme Court banned the use of absentee ballot drop boxes in the state. Only the voter can return the ballot in person, the conservative-led body determined. A federal judge later ruled that the voters with disabilities are allowed to obtain third-party assistance for mailing ballots or delivering them back to the clerk. Last week, the Wisconsin 2nd District Court of Appeals decided not to hear an appeal of Waukesha County Circuit Court judge's ruling on October 5th that prohibits voters who already cast a ballot from voiding it and voting again. This decision applies to voters who cast absentee ballots and votes early at precincts. The practice, which is known as ballot spoiling, has been permitted for numerous election cycles in the state. On October 5th, in that same county, Circuit Judge Brad Schimmel ruled that Wisconsin voters can't cancel their ballot and cast new ones once the vote has been cast. Schimmel granted a request for a temporary injunction against the practice, which was encouraged by the WEC at offices throughout the state, and that's the elections committee. I forgot what it's called. Something elections committee.
Wisconsin Election Committee?
It might be the Wisconsin Elections Committee. I forget about the other one. The FEC, I think, is the other one, Federal Elections Committee. This is the Wisconsin Elections Committee. Wisconsin voter Nancy Cormick sued the WEC over its guidance that the states that the clerks could give completed and submitted absentee ballots to voters. Doing so violates Wisconsin law that states the clerk shall not return the ballot to the elector once submitted, according to that lawsuit. The guidance was issued after multiple candidates dropped out of high-profile races, including Democratic candidates for the U.S. Senate. A Republican former Wisconsin attorney, Schimmel, sided with Cormick and ordered an injunction effective October 7th. At the emergency meeting last week, the WEC unanimously voted to rescind their previous guidance and no longer allow ballot spoiling. So you can see in all aspects, fam, of this situation of what's going on. They're going to come down to the wire, and laws are, they're looking at them. They're seeing what the election fight is not over, and there's going to be a lot of lawsuits, a lot more things coming forth. So I hope we just get some form of transparency and honesty. This is another situation too, as well. When you have early voting, you create a situation where you chase your tail, right? You're just muddy in the waters. All these laws that I heard a lot of these conservatives and a lot of America First conservatives talk about in Orlando when it came to election integrity were all due to the fact that we had a mail-in system, that we didn't have, like, the voter rolls were so concerning to them. Why? Because we have a mail-in system and they can be manipulated in so many different ways. So if you're going to mail out ballots to everybody on the voters roll, or you're going to have some people who are going to request a ballot that might not be a fictional person, and they can send that in and via mail, you're going to have to create all these securities and try to put them in place, and you'll just be chasing your own tail. If we eliminated drop boxes and we limited mail-ins to only injured people or handicapped people, you wouldn't have to chase your tail the way we're chasing our tail with American elections. Okay.
Well, I still think the elections aren't going to change in the United States because nobody's talking about election integrity except the right, and they're still not talking about the whole situation as a whole. So,
guys, I want to say thank you to everybody out there, please, who's helped it out today. Dr. Dragon, thank you so much. Dr. Dragon says thank you. Fee and Pasta, thank you. All the people that show up and support, fight. We're going to keep fighting as long as you guys put us in a position to do so. 104 watchers on Rockford, 3940 on Rumble. Almost still, how many we got on YouTube, fam? We still got 524 people hanging on out. Fam, let's get to your commie heaven that you lived in this weekend.
Yeah, I was in commie heaven.
Here we go. Fam, go to commie heaven.
Okay, so today was, now it's Tuesday for me. Today, Monday, the 7th, was the Bolshevik Revolution. It was the anniversary of the Bolshevik Revolution, or the Great October Socialist Revolution. Okay, and this revolution took place on this calendar, November 7th. And it was what marked the beginning of the Russian Civil War. And you can see pictures of Stalin there, all these commie flags, different factions of communists. There's the Trots, which Dan and I aren't really fond of. Then there's like two other commie factions, one more anarcho types, which I was a little bit iffy on those two as well. And then there was like the second largest one, which were the party of the second largest party to Vladimir Putin's party. Now, like I said before, Vladimir Putin's party is a national party. It's called, I think it's the Unity Party. It's not a communist party. He's more of like a conservative. And these people were there, and you can go on to the next one. They were putting, flowers on Stalin's grave. They were putting flowers on the graves and the statues of those that came before. So the Bolshevik Revolution basically signaled the beginning of the Russian Revolution. And that was after the dual government fell apart, because remember, the Russians overthrew the empire, the Russian Empire. It was an autocratic empire. They overthrew that. And then after that, what was established was this dual government, but they weren't happy with that. So they got rid of that as well. So this was the beginning of that. And it was 105th anniversary of that. So you can see all the people there. You can see the flags. You can see there's a lot of footage film from back then during the First World War as well. This is in Red Square. This is in the center of Moscow, and they were marching. Obviously, the vast majority of people there were older. They were definitely on the older side. They were not like, in their 30s or younger. Even under 40, it was hard to find. But there were some, and Dan took some pictures of a lot of the youngins, but most people were definitely older. And you can see that there's lights up. They have no problem with lights. And unlike Kiev and unlike Ukraine and unlike all of Europe that's going to be conserving their lights and stuff. So we went to that, and we were basically in commie heaven, just like looking at, everything that was going on. Now you have to understand that Russia is a very old country, right? When you're walking across Red Square, you're walking across Moscow, you're walking across a country that's been around thousands of years. You're not walking across a country that's only been around a couple hundred years. So there's really a lot. And I haven't even tried talking to the ghosts in Russia yet, but I'm going to try that next.
Fam.
So.
Fam.
Anyway, fam, you can put the.
Jesus Christmas.
You can put the next one up. So this is
God.
What? It's true.
Stop talking.
No, this is
ghost
like.
there. I don't need you to be haunted by a Russian ghost right now. I can't deal.
Fam, it's okay. You talk to all kinds of people. I talk to all kinds of dead people. Anyway, so this is in front of St. Basil's Cathedral. If you scroll down, I'm right there. There I am.
Who's that?
That's me.
Who's wearing a skirt in the cold winter of friggin'
I'm
Russia?
wearing tights with it, and it was like a winter skirt.
All right,
There's
whose grave is
Stalin's.
this? Stalin's grave?
Stalin. Yeah.
Joseph?
Yes. No.
Are you a
Pasta
Stalinist?
Stalin.
I do
not a
have the Stalin
Stalinist.
haircut.
But I think he was. I think he was a fine-looking young man. When he was young.
Who was your favorite commie, fam?
Probably Lenin.
Lenin?
Yeah. Look, this is where he's at, and we went in here, and he's literally conserved, right? He's in this tank without no. Yeah, and he looks like the same, but it says Lenin in Russian right there. But we couldn't take pictures once we went inside, and yeah, it
All right,
was
I have a
pretty
question.
cool. What's your question?
Why do you like Lenin more
Because
than Stalin? I thought Lenin was more like about the culture wars and shit like that.
No, you're thinking about Trotsky.
Okay.
This is why we don't like the Trotskys. I like Lenin because he talked about how you can't compromise with the reformist liberals, and if you read that passage where he was talking about the revolution, it basically just outlines exactly why you can't. You can only go so far as to try to reform this stuff. Like you can't. These people are too far gone. You can't work with them. So I think of the squad. I think of the squad as being like those liberals, and they had to go. So they have to go in order for us to go anywhere else. So that's just me. So this is what Dan said. He said, "Today I visited the tomb of Vladimir Lenin with Comrade Fiorella Isabel. That Lenin is still laying in state in Red Square, and that hundreds of people continue to line up every day to see him, shows the significant support people still have for the Russian Revolution and the Soviet Union. So he took a picture of the line. There was a long line to go. It's free, by the way. If you come to Moscow, you can see Lenin every day from, I think, 8 a.m. till 1 p.m. You just walk through. It's free. You can
I
see
like the
him.
way you sell it. You can see Lenin for free. Come to Moscow.
No, I'm just saying what is.
Yeah, fam.
See, I'm just saying what is. You guys want to see Lenin? You can see Lenin. Anyway, Putin is not. If Putin was really a dictator, he'd be like, fuck the commies. We're going to go get rid of all of them. We're not going to have Lenin. No, but the Russians have pride. That doesn't mean that the Russians going to see Lenin are all a bunch of communists. Literally, it's a part of history. It's just, that's what it is. It's just a part of history, and they're looking at it and that sort of thing. Wait. There's one more. And there's one more picture you need to show.
Which one, fam?
It's fam. If you go to my Twitter.
Okay.
It's a very.
All right.
You'll see it.
I'm going.
It's the one with the other guy.
Also commie stuff or
just one more commie thing.
That's the Great Socialist Revolution. I'm just going to go to your Twitter and we'll go from
just
there.
Go to my Twitter.
I'm going to your Twitter, fam.
Just go to my Twitter. It's 1:08 in the morning. Jesus Christ.
Okay.
You Americans and your stupid daylight savings BS. Now it ruins me. It ruins my life now.
Oh, dude, Whitney retweeted me. Look at that shit.
She did.
I didn't know that. And she got like 2,600 on hers. I got like 600 on mine.
You should show it after this one. So it's just the Marx one. There's a picture with Marx and I.
Oh, God. I got it. Jesus, fam.
Fam, I want you to read Russian.
You just have to, right? You just have to just do it, right? Like you have to go, this is the one I wanted to avoid, right? This is like the guy. Like this guy who causes all the problems. Right here, fam. Go ahead. Read it. Read your little.
Okay, so if you scroll down.
Read that.
No, it's just me with Marx, but you can't even see me. There he is. It says, proletarians of the world unite in Russian.
Let's make sure.
So workers of the world unite, right?
I got to get the whole thing in there so people can see her and Marx together. Here it is. Here you go.
Cutting off his head, fam.
There you go. Fam. Look at you, fam. You love that. Commie heaven. We went to commie heaven right there. Just too much. Just too much.
So some people like Stalin better, some people like Lenin better, some people like Marx. But yeah, I think Stalin was the most handsome. Not that matters.
I think I look most like Stalin. Like then
you do not look like Stalin. You look like Marx, if anything.
I look I look like Stalin, fam.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
Okay,
so here we are.
So here we are, shifting a little bit to
just to finish up the show. So I wrote this out. Like I woke up yesterday and I heard that Whitney had done a show on Glenn Beck, and I thought it was amazing. I'm like, that's awesome because Whitney's now going to get her information out to a lot more people, a big audience. And at the end of the day, I've said this before. If you are serious about the work you're doing, if you feel that your message needs to be elevated, if you feel that what you're doing is important and you want to get into as many people as possible, you don't play team sports and you take that opportunity to go on those shows and talk to those people. So I woke up yesterday and I saw this hating on Whitney Webb, and I said it right here. Because people were saying, oh my God, how could she go on Glenn Beck, fam? He's a Zayakon. Or now she's favoring the Donald Trump people because she's pointing out the connection between Clinton and Epstein and kind of, underreporting the quotes on Trump and Epstein, like all this just hating shit. And I was like, all the children hating on Whitney Webb for taking an interview with Glenn Beck, a person that thinks differently than her. It's called being an adult. Be an adult. You should try it one day because your nonsense is getting old. Go keep it real with your imaginary friends somewhere else. And when I say your imaginary friends somewhere else, like, who the fuck are you talking to? Oh, I'm keeping it real. And you got to, you know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm like, get the hell out of here. So Whitney Webb retweeted me. I'm glad she did. I wrote a nonpartisan book on Jeffrey Epstein's intelligence, and so far, only big name right and conservative people have wanted to have me on to talk about it. It's not my fault that the most big left platforms are uninterested in what I have to say, but it is telling.
Yeah. Why? Where are all the big lefty shows that invite Whitney on? Obviously, we've had her on. So has you and Steve and a few other people in independent media. But I mean, I'm talking about people with millions of subscribers. Why don't they have her on? It's all like the right or right-leaning conservative, or even some of the libertarian ones. It's oh, you know why? Because they're like, oh, she's too much of a conspiracy theorist, or she's this and that, and like, you don't know anything about her. You haven't read her work. You haven't done shit. So it's just really obnoxious to hear these people pontificate like how, oh, she's going on Glenn Beck. Who gives a shit she's going on Glenn Beck? Does that make her a Zionist suddenly because she's going on Glenn Beck? Like, you guys don't make any sense. You're just children. Yeah. They're worse than children, than toddlers. They're toddlers.
Yeah. And
sorry, toddlers.
No, you're toddlers. And guess what? I wipe my hands with you. I'm done with you. Don't worry about me bitching about you anymore.
Don't worry about it.
I'm not gonna mention your friggin' name ever again, or who the people out there that know who you are, that know who I'm talking about. I wipe my hands with you. I wipe my hands with you. No, I wipe my ass with you. I'm done.
Big bada boom. Bada boom.
Sam, please let me handle this.
That's what I say when I'm like, let's get out of here.
But this was the whole wagging of the finger from these people from saying stuff, even with the Russian things, the wagging their fingers at us. Oh, yeah. No, I can't do it no more. You know what? I'm sorry that I ever gave you any type of notion whatsoever that I uplifted your word. Like I said in the beginning of the show, I'm a little bit fucking done with even talking to you guys. That interview was tremendous. If you believe in your ideas, you should want the world to hear them. Even more so, your perceived enemies.
Yeah.
Clint, Russell, Liberty Lockdown, thank you so much for jumping in on there. The interview was tremendous, fam. It was tremendous.
I haven't seen the interview yet, but I guarantee you it was tremendous because I've seen Whitney in interviews and she just spits out the facts, right?
She's trying to sell her book. More power to her. And if she can reach a larger audience, I'm all for it. She's in the top 5 of actual journalists right now, fam. And I agree with that 100%. And I believe Misty got in here. I don't know where's Misty at. Misty got in here. She even said, Misty.
I don't know, find her, but like, it's ridiculous because why would you want to speak to only people who agree with you? They already agree with you. They already watch your stuff. You don't have to convince them of anything. They don't have to know anything. Like they already know your work. They don't have to do anything. Isn't the point to get people who don't agree with you to hear you, or people who may not be as receptive to your message to hear you? Like, it doesn't make any sense. This is not a logical thing. This is like an emotional, virtue signaling, dumbass, like woke leftist bullshit. Like, it's just so stupid. I don't even want to call it woke. I want to call it like, God, like holier than thou. Like, I don't even know.
Purity test. This bullshit fucking purity test.
But I don't even want to say purity test. Remember? Because the purity test is what the liberals used on us. But it's like,
this is their version of it, fam. That's all it is. It's just their version of their purity test. And really, to tell you the truth, it has nothing to do with presenting any solutions. It's just calling out people because you're more virtuous than them. Oh my God.
But while doing nothing.
While doing nothing, not making a choice. It's the whole Russia thing. It's the whole Russia thing. Well, what should we do? I don't know, but Putin shouldn't be doing that. Huh? Well, Azalut, wipe my hands with you. Rem, thank you so much. Says sleep well, sweet dreams. That's going to wrap it up, fam. We got a note, a C note inside the bank here in the Rockfin. Guys, 96 people watching to the very end. Thank you so much. 30 people still watching over on the Rumble, and over 450 people still watching on the YouTube. Fam, if you see any comments you want to put up there at the last as we're going out, that will be it. You got anything else for today?
No, fam. I'm tired, and it's already tomorrow. So
yeah, for you, not for me. It's nice and early. I get to go home, take a nap, wake up, eat, take my time, fart around. Morning show tomorrow will be fun. T-Lab Tuesday. Last American Vagabond joins us every Tuesday. That's why we call it a T-Lab Tuesday. And then the election. So I'll be jumping on. I don't know if Fee wants to jump on. She can. If not, I'll be just kind of holding it down myself. Benny Smith will be on talking about fraction magic. Phil Evans will be on talking. He's the godfather of pattern analysis. We're going to be going over some Bernie charts. So if you're a burner tomorrow, you want to see how we can show you the math and how you got.
This is on the morning show, right?
No, this is the after. This is Combo Couch after.
You're going to do. Okay.
I'm going to jump on, cover some results. So we have that. Raji Rob will come on at 3:00. And Raji Rob will talk about early voting, how early counting means early fraud, why it's bad to early count. He'll also be talking about ballots. Where did they come from? Looking at the contracts, seeing the responsibilities. Something that wasn't mentioned in Dinesh D'Souza's movie, he completely avoided and missed. What about the contracts? Well, we're going to go over a couple contracts on companies that make your ballots. So that's tomorrow. That's going on tomorrow. We'll have that going on. Mel K might stop by. I told her to drop on in. So we're going to have like an election integrity activist day and wrap it up pretty early without necessarily waiting for the results to come in. I am there with Fee. I don't care about the results because the results are coming through with a potentially fraudulent system. Henceforth, who gives a crap then? So we're going to talk about the framework tomorrow, and that's on the Combo Couch, fam.
Great. Have fun with that. Anyway.
Fam, one last thing I got to say.
Good night, guys.
We love you guys. Have a good one.
I'm going to get rid of that sound.
Who do we have on Wednesday, by the way?
So Wednesday we have Don Corder, who's my colleague for RT. He did a documentary on Donbass, and we're going to talk about that. And Friday we might have, it's still tentative. We'll see how he feels. So,
yeah.
All right.
Bye, guys. Combo out.
До свидания. Good night.
You had to.